This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
Sunny and 28 today with the 6 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
A small supermarket was at the centre of a $200,000 fire at Glenelg South last night. The blaze broke out around 7:30 on the Broadway. Nicole Ely from the MFS says the flames didn't spread to adjoining shops.
First firefighters saved all neighbouring shops and 50 to 60% of the small supermarket. Damage to the supermarket is estimated at $200,000. MFS and SAPOL fire cause investigators will investigate the cause.
More carnage on our roads. A car went into a tree at Ninnis on the Upper York Peninsula last night. Crews were called just after 8:30. It follows 2 deaths in separate crashes over the Easter long weekend. The state government and ambulance union will meet again today as part of ongoing mediation talks. The union wants additional paramedics to help tackle increasing ramping and poor response times. The government says they'll increase resources if the union agrees to rostering and meal break reform. The tourism industry is welcoming the announcement of quarantine and vaccine-free travel between Australia and New Zealand. The Trans-Tasman bubble will kick off on April 19. SA Tourism Industry CEO Sean de Bruin says it's a major boost for the sector.
Ultimately, the New Zealand government have put a number of provisos around it. It's about keeping everyone safe, making sure there's no transmission of COVID. I think there's a lot of people who are really keen to get out, start moving around, start travelling across the country and definitely travelling to our nearest neighbour, New Zealand.
And David and Will talk to New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern about the bubble in the next half an hour. Australia's economy is predicted to bounce back faster than first thought from the COVID downturn. The International Monetary Fund now expects our economy to grow by 4.5% this year, after shrinking by 2.4% in 2020. Chief Economist Geeta Gopinath says the vaccine rollout is having a positive effect on the economic outlook around the world.
Even with high uncertainty about the path of the pandemic, a way out of this health and economic crisis is increasingly visible. Hundreds and millions of people are being vaccinated, and this is expected to power recoveries in many countries later this year.
A trial of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine in children is on hold amid an investigation into possible links with blood clots. Nine's Ben Avery reports from London.
The decision by Oxford University comes after the head of vaccines for the European Medicines Agency said he believes the British vaccine is causing a rare blood clotting syndrome, which appears to be mainly affecting young people. However, Marco Cavalieri also says a full review is yet to be completed, with the agency to formally announce its findings in the coming days. Regulators have repeatedly said the benefits of the vaccine far outweigh the risks. Data showing of the 18 million people who've been given the jab in the UK, 30 have developed the blood clots. Australia's vaccine body is set to meet today to discuss all latest findings.
The world now has 2,755 billionaires. That's according to the latest list from Forbes. Amazon founder Jeff Bezos is in top spot with 177 billion. Tesla's Elon Musk is runner-up. And reality TV star Kim Kardashian makes her debut, notching up $1 billion empire thanks to endorsements and her own shapewear and cosmetics companies. Now to FIVEaa Sport.
Who loves South Australia as much as you do? Fleurieu Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
And it's good morning to Tom Wren.
Good morning to you as well, Mel. We're not quite just there yet. We'll get there one day. A major blow, though, for Adelaide, with key defender Daniel Talia set to be sidelined for up to 10 weeks with foot surgery. Crows head of football Adam Kelly confirming the news on the club's website.
Unfortunately, with Daniel Talia, on further assessment, it's been determined that surgery is going to be required for his foot injury, and that surgery will be occurring in the coming days.
Still on footy, and Jack Riewoldt says Richmond will grow from their 45-point loss to Sydney on the weekend. The Tigers head to Adelaide this week to play Port on Friday night. Riewoldt telling Fox Footy they know they're still one of the best teams in the competition.
I want a better phrase than a reality check, but we just got a bit of a touch-up, and then it's a real learning curve for us. So we're not playing as well as we'd like to play, but we've been given given a look at something that we can really improve on. That's our defence.
To tennis, and Aussie Storm Sanders has just lost the opening set in her second-round match against Petra Kvitova at the Charleston Open in South Carolina. She lost it in a tiebreaker with games now on serve in the second set. One game in the A-League last night with Central Coast and the Western Sydney Wanderers playing out a 2-2 draw. Meantime, in European Champions League action, it's into the quarter-finals. There's about 15 minutes to play in the first leg. Manchester City leading Borussia Dortmund 1-0, but Liverpool is trailing Real Madrid 3-1. And that's the FIVEaa Sport.
Now the FIVEaa forecast.
Audi Solitaire, Metro Dealer of the Year. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
Sunny and 28 today, cloud increasing tomorrow 31, back to 24 on Friday. Right now it's 13 degrees. More news as it happens on FIVEaa.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to FIVEaa Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
5 after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Wednesday on FIVEaa Breakfast. We've got a program for you this morning. Coming up after 7 o'clock, North St Peters Mayor Robert Bree will be on the show to talk about the residents' response to the Chinese consulate in Joslin. We'll talk to him about a plan discussed last night at Council 2 to make the entire area 40 k's an hour speed limit wise. Vincent Tarzi will join us from the state government to talk about the public consultation for the bushfire management plan for the next 5 years. We'll get into detail with him on that. Sean Fuster will join us and we'll go around the courts. We'll catch up with Tom Duday from the Adelaide Football Club. Lots to talk about from a Crows perspective, including this little thing called expectation this week, and he'll join us. But the headliner, without doubt, in the next 15 minutes, we're going to be catching up with the Prime Minister of New Zealand, Jacinda Ardern, because David Penberthy, we can travel overseas again.
We can. How does that sound? It sounds unbelievable, doesn't it?
It does.
Like, you know, you're getting on for a year and a half since late 2019 when the whole coronavirus thing started to unfold in China, and here we are. The first country that Australians are going to be allowed to go to is over the ditch, NZ, which is going to be fantastic news for a lot of Australian families. I know that one of my best mates from school, him and his wife now live just outside of Auckland. They've had a bit of a mini early retirement. They live over there. They're doing up an old farmhouse, and Mike's dad lives here in SA and would love to, have the freedom to get over there without all the rigmarole of quarantine and everything else. Huge number of Kiwis in Australia, particularly in Sydney. But equally importantly in a way, or not quite as importantly, but importantly, because going on a holiday is part of life. People love it if you can afford to, and the way travel has come down. Far from being the preserve of the rich anymore. You can get up to Bali for next to nothing. You can get cheap flights to New Zealand. It's great news.
You speak to psychologists and they'll often say it is an important part of the mental state of people in the modern world to know that at some point in the future, be it 5 months or 5 years away, there's a holiday coming.
Yeah, totally.
That you can just say, well, if we get through this and we're not far off, and then we'll be going over to New Zealand or wherever it might well be. It's actually just a really important part. And look, we've been able to travel to parts of Australia, but there's something entirely different about the experience of being able to travel overseas. Yeah. And the good news out of this is we're talking direct flights out of Adelaide.
I know. How good's that?
Air New Zealand, $567 one way will get you to New Zealand once things start. That'll be a little bit later. That'll be May 5. The actual the quarantine-free travel period will start on the 19th of April, so it's less than 2 weeks away.
So this means that conceivably, I mean, you'd want to go for longer than the June long weekend, but if you wanted to, you could.
Absolutely, you could. There and back.
July school holidays.
No quarantine. No worries.
It is such a good country.
It is. It is.
Where'd you go when you were there?
We did, when we were in our mid-20s, I hired a car and we drove around the entirety of the South Island. So we went get a counterclockwise loop of the South Island of New Zealand.
Love to hear people's travel memories of New Zealand, or if we've got any listeners who are Kiwis. I'm sure we do. There's Kiwis everywhere. They're such good people. They're so laid back, Kiwis.
They say about New Zealand that it's you will see the most different landscapes on Earth in the shortest distance travel in New Zealand. So you can go from seeing a glacier to seeing what looks like, dense forest to high mountains to, English countryside style green plain. You can see it all, and you've only had to travel. We haven't had to travel particularly far.
We didn't travel very far at all because I'm just trying to think. Was Sam alive? No, it was just Safe and Jim. It's the first big trip that Kate and I did with the two older kids, and We drove from. We just had a crappy little hire car, really unsuited for icy conditions. There's the small scratch on it that hopefully the people at Kiwi Car Rentals didn't identify after it was returned. The car just slid into a big dumpster outside the hotel on the ice. But just the one little short drive we did was from Queenstown down to Glenorchy.
Yep.
And every time you get around a curve, you go, oh, wow, look at that view.
Yeah.
And then you go, hang on, look at that view. Yeah. You can see why they film Lord of the Rings there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's instantly obvious when you're driving around. Beautiful part of the world. You made a good point before. We've got any New Zealanders listening, any Kiwis that are in Adelaide listening to the program. We'd love to hear from you this morning because you're going to get to go home. 8223 0000. You can text us too on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line, 044808 1395. News headlines coming up in just a moment.
At Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, we believe that what you want is pretty straightforward. A service department that offers factory-trained mechanics, next-day servicing, complimentary pickup and delivery, wash and vacuum is standard, brake, wheel alignment and shock absorber testing included, complimentary loan cars, breakfast or lunch is on us, and access Wi-Fi while you're waiting. Go online to book your service today and experience the difference. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city.
Major road resurfacing works on the Southeastern Freeway between the Toll Gate and Hyson tunnels will be underway until mid-2021. Motorists should expect delays, so allow extra travel time. Visit dit.sa.gov.au/SE Freeway. A message from the Government of South Australia.
Pardon?
Sorry?
Huh? What? Pardon?
Sorry? Huh?
What?
It's time to stop ignoring the whats, especially with hearing loss linked to other health issues. At Audica, we offer a no-obligation free trial of our hearing devices because we want you to feel comfortable wearing them. We specialise in personal hearing health that's tailored to you. Visit audica.com.au to book your free hearing health check. Be hearing healthy with Audica. Available to adults aged 26 or over.
It isn't waste until you waste it. That's the catch cry from an amazing company called Eco Waste Solutions. Eco Waste Solutions is a hard waste recycling facility, not a dump, located at Williston. They'll take everything except hazardous waste and food scraps. They'll take your waste bricks, your mattresses, tyres, soil, timber, steel, concrete and more. Plus, if you pre-sort your load, you receive a 50% discount on disposal fees. Google Eco Waste Solutions Williston for more.
Moving day-to-day business from this
You have 8 missed calls
to this.
Great, so I'll see you at 3.
It starts with a business mobile plan that helps you work on the go. Search Optus Business today. Great business starts with yes.
Hi, I'm Izzy and my family runs St Louis Home Care, which was started by my great-grandma over 70 years ago.
Izzy, your great-grandma would be so proud, with St Louis now being one of South Australia's leading providers of home care. From check visits to shopping, meal and medication support, St Louis have it covered. And then there's the gardening, home maintenance and personal care.
Don't forget the social activities. Google St Louis Home Care to find out how my family can help take care of yours.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Is that a deliberate song placement there? Or was that just an accident that we've got Dave Dobbin's Slice of Heaven playing on the same day that we're going to interview Jacinda Ardern?
No, that is the computer has randomly spat that one out.
You're joking?
As though it knew. The Prime Minister of New Zealand coming up in the next 10 minutes on the program.
What's up next? I Got You by Split Ends.
I think...
Maybe some Bats from the South Island. Very underrated New Zealand band.
I'm not going to scroll ahead and ruin it, but
Straight Jacket Fits, good band.
Wonderful timing. Let's get into the news headlines on this Wednesday morning before the Prime Minister joins us. A trial of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine in children is on hold amid an investigation to a possible link with blood clots. The decision by Oxford University comes after the head of vaccines for the European Medicines Agency said he believes the British vaccine is causing a rare blood clotting syndrome, which appears to be mainly affecting young people. Data shows that of the 18 million people who've been given the jab in the UK, 30 have developed the blood clots. Australia's vaccine body is set to meet today to discuss all the latest findings, but is unlikely to stop the rollout. I guess that just changes the risk proposition, doesn't it? Because in older people, 18 per 30 million or whatever it is, getting blood clots is significantly lower than what the death rate would be from actually contracting COVID.
Yeah.
Yet it's perhaps not as clear-cut when it comes to younger people. So they can afford to pause it. The European Union has denied claims it blocked a shipment of more than 3 million doses of the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine from coming to Australia. Prime Minister Scott Morrison said 3.1 million doses of the vaccine had been blocked from importation overseas. The EU says it stopped only one importation of the vaccine to Australia, which happened in March. The federal government has fallen short of its promised 4 million vaccinations by April.
How can they both be wrong or right?
Well, they sort of can be. There was a couple of 100,000 that most definitely Italy said we're not sending out. We need them. They're not going. Sorry. There is another group that the Australian government 100% knows aren't coming, whether they ask for them or not, but they haven't pushed the issue.
Right.
So they haven't officially not come, but we haven't forced it because we know after those ones didn't come, the rest won't come. So
you're saying you didn't ask?
That's right.
And Australia's saying, we didn't bother asking because we knew we were going to get it.
We knew what the answer was going to be because you're not sending it anywhere. So that's the distinction. They sort of both right. The United States will further accelerate its coronavirus vaccination program to 3 million doses a day. 150 million people have already received the vaccine. But as of April 19, all adult Americans will be able to get the jab if they want to. April 19. So the date that we're opening borders to fly to New Zealand, everyone in the United States will be able to turn up and get a jab.
Yeah.
It's
crazy. It's fast how they've done it.
Well, you're seeing it now on people will see it on who are on social media that you see American teenagers tweeting about, I've got my vaccine card and getting the athletes and people. It seems so foreign to us.
Yeah. Regrettably.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Tourism industry leaders say Australia's travel bubble with New Zealand has been a long time coming. Australians will be able to enter New Zealand without having to go into hotel quarantine from April 19. Despite the announcement of the bubble being met with widespread support, Virgin Australia won't be flying across the ditch between the two countries when the borders do open. The airline has pushed back scheduling flights until October 31, citing evolving border requirements and fleet limitations. Authorities are investigating the cause of a supermarket fire at Glenelg South. The blaze broke out around 7:30 a.m. last night on the Broadway. We'll be speaking with SAPOL in about 15 minutes' time about that. And former Australia Post boss Christine Holgate has attacked the board of the Postal Service, labelling the chairman a liar who bullied her out of a job. Ms Holgate left the role over senior executives being giving Cartier watches for securing a lucrative deal. In a Senate submission, she says she was unlawfully stood down and her reputation and career were thrown under the bus. That is, there's a lot to come on that story in terms of how it was handled, what evidence was given to a parliamentary inquiry.
That statement that she's written, 151 pages, sounds like the precursor to a pretty significant, right, I didn't deserve to get the sack, so you owe me some cash.
Absolutely. 18 minutes after 6. Let's talk sport. Tom Wren's in the 5AA Breakfast studio with us. 3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers. FIVEaa Milk Company in your supermarket now. Tom Wren, good morning.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. Boys, cannot wait for your show this morning. You've got so much coming up, and Jacinda Ardern shortly. But just quickly, the Crows, a bit of a setback for Daniel Talia. He's set to miss 8 to 10 weeks, unfortunately, with his foot surgery. So they're going to have to lean on those young defenders to get the job done. Tom Duday sort of leading the way from here on in.
He'll be on the program a little bit later today. But Jordan Butts has been
exceptional,
unsung, but done a terrific job back there.
Yep.
Well, who's he stood so far? Tom Hawkins, Buddy Franklin. And he kept them both to 2 goals, didn't he?
Yeah, and he had Ben King.
Ben King kicked a couple on him early.
Yeah.
But he did okay after that as the team got better. But, most of the time you introduce a young key tall and he's playing next to a season. You're playing 2 and at least one of them's been around a bit. He's doing it down there by himself.
I'll tell you what, Ben King is going to be pretty special. He's going to be hard to get around for a long time.
They move well, the King brothers,
6'9", 6'10". Wow, he's going to be really, really good. So that's a blow for the Crows that they're going to be missing him, but hopefully they can sort of, cover that over the coming weeks. And just a little bit of European Champions League. I know we've got a lot of football fans up early. Some quarter-final action. It's the first leg, so they play a return leg after this match. But Manchester City has just gone 2-1 up against Borussia Dortmund in injury time. Liverpool, though, trailing Real Madrid at 3-1. Tomorrow as well, we might do a bit of a Masters preview. We've only ever won 1 US Masters. Adam Scott back in 2013. There are 5 Aussies this year. I think Adam Scott's a good chance again, and hopefully Cam Smith, who finished runner-up last year.
It's been a casualty of COVID, your sense of time. It feels like we only had the Masters 2 minutes ago.
I know.
We
did. It was only 5 months ago.
Didn't we? Yeah, 5 months ago.
Because they usually have it in April every year, which it is this year, but because of COVID last year, they pushed it back to November. We've got this event where we've got 2 Masters within 5 months. So I can't wait. It's going to be an exciting few days coming up.
Good on you, Rennie.
Good stuff. Thanks, boys.
Who loves South Australia as much as Tom Wren does? FIVEaa Milk, that's who. FIVEaa Milk Company, South Australian and proud of it.
When people walk through the doors at Pals, the first thing they say is wow. Not only because of the size and selection, but also because of the team. Sam and Jamie have tasted every drop. They and their team can recommend a whiskey that's just as good as that hard-to-find Japanese one, if they don't have it, that is. Or a beautiful red that's reminiscent of that outstanding cellar door you once travelled so far to visit. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
G'day, it's Eddie May here from NRG Solar. If you've postponed your overseas trip, whether you plan to sun yourself on the deck of a cruise ship or hang out on a tropical island, you can still make the most of the sun and invest in solar panels. It's a smart move because you'll actually be getting a great return on your investment. And with the money you've saved, you'll be able to take an even better holiday. Say bon voyage to your power bills forever. Visit nrgsolar.com.au or drop into our showroom on South Road at Richmond.
Across the school holidays, hop aboard Steam Ranger's famous cockle train. With 3 trips daily between Goolwa and Victor Harbour, ride behind vintage steam trains, classic diesels and heritage rail cars along one of Australia's most scenic coastal railways. Or head inland with special trips to Finnis and Strathalbyn. For more info, visit Steam Ranger online or on the line with tickets available from the Goolwa, Port Elliot and Victor Harbour stations. Steam Ranger Heritage Railway, proudly supported by FIVEaa and Channel 9.
I'm Kathy Nagel, the Chief Executive of Western Hospital at Henley Beach. We are fast becoming a hospital dedicated to specialist orthopaedic surgery, with orthopaedic surgeons trained in modern robotic technology to assist in reducing your time spent in hospital. Plus, coupled with our zero out-of-pocket joint replacement options means there's no gap payments for the surgeon or the anaesthetist for eligible surgeries for eligible health fund members. Enquire by calling 8159 1200 or visiting westernhospital.com.au.
Adelaide Tools has arrived in Parafield. We've moved from Paraka to a bigger and better superstore with the widest range from the quality brands you know and trust. You've just got to come and see it for yourself. The new Adelaide Tools Superstore, corner of Main North Road and Kesters Road, Parafield.
South Australia's current fruit fly outbreaks are not only affecting some of our everyday foods, but threatening thousands of local jobs, businesses and livelihoods. There are important restrictions in place to limit the movement of some fruit and vegetables. We all need to understand how the restrictions apply to where we live, shop and travel. Because protecting our growers, South Australian jobs and businesses is in your hands. Find out what you need to do by visiting fruitfly.sa.gov.au. A message from the Government of South Australia.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
23 minutes after 6. It's almost like there's a theme to the music this morning. Could well be because the Prime Minister of New Zealand, Jacinda Ardern, will join us in just a couple of moments' time to talk about the really exciting news yesterday that a travel bubble between Australia and New Zealand has been agreed upon. We're less than 2 weeks away from being able to travel quarantine-free to New Zealand. And it's exciting not just for the reason that people can get to travel to New Zealand, which is a wonderful place. I'm getting some texts on that front at the moment on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line. But it heralds a change in the way we think about COVID and the fight against it, doesn't it? Mindset-wise, travel coming back is a sign that things are really not just now inching towards normal, we're racing towards normal.
The other thing too, if you think about it in a regional sense, if you've got New Zealand back on track, there'll be a lot of other smaller countries in the Pacific that we regard as synonymous with fun, places like Fiji, Vanuatu. A lot of those countries have done terrifically well as well throughout COVID. They've had negligible numbers of cases and they've managed it admirably. So you'd think, Fiji, Samoa, a lot of these places will probably be watching this travel bubble very closely because they're in some cases, wholly dependent on tourism for their survival.
Big day for the travel agents too. We've spoken about the plight of places like, our good friend Phil Hoffman and others too that have had difficulty. You don't typically engage a travel agent when you're booking a holiday to Victor Harbour for the weekend, or if you're off to the Flinders Ranges, but you probably do if you're going to New Zealand and overseas. So it's wonderful news for some local businesses as well. CJ in Bowden says a golf trip to Queenstown was amazing, and the Pinot from Central Otago, and he's just given the old thank you very much emoji sign there.
I like that. Mark in Glenside says, hey, Pimbo, can you ask Jacinda who her favourite Flying Nun record artist is? I don't think I will, Mark. But for those not in the know, it's a famous New Zealand record label that had a lot of fantastic Kiwi bands back in the 1990s.
8223 0000 is our number. You can text us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line too, 0448 08 1395. Be you someone from New Zealand, someone who's in recent years travelled to New Zealand, you'd love to go back, or the kind of person just excited to hear news like this coming through. We'd love to hear from you today. I bet there are a few people with family connections over in New Zealand as well that we'll finally get to go over and see them. It's probably been the better part of 2 years.
Yeah,
since you've been able to go and see members of your family.
That's right. I think a lot of people, when we've had them on talking about how their kids are expats or they're people like so many South Australians where their young family moved to the eastern states for work reasons or what have you. A lot of people who, for logistical reasons or because they'd been up recently, didn't see their kids or their grandkids at Christmas 2019. They're the ones who are like, oh, well, that means, it might be 2 or even 2.5 years since I've seen anybody. So, yeah, it's been a tough time for a lot of people.
Yeah, certainly has. So the news is simply this, that you'll be able to travel to New Zealand quarantine-free from 11:59 Sunday, April 18. Let's just call it April 19. So from Monday, in under 2 weeks, you'll be able to travel quarantine-free. And really exciting too, Air New Zealand have seized the opportunity for direct flights to come out of Adelaide. They'll be each Wednesday, Friday and Sunday from May the 5th. So 3 direct flights from Adelaide from the 5th of May. So it'll be a couple of weeks after that. But that makes it exceptionally convenient. $567 one way. It's pretty achievable. Makes it almost a domestic flight.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mentioned yesterday the flights to Darwin, even with the discounting that's on at the moment, they're $1,300 return. So it's cheaper to go to New Zealand than it is to Darwin.
Which is extraordinary. Extraordinary. And the borders being open mean it might actually be more Australian than Western Australia now. 27 after 6, 8223 0000 the number, or 0448 08 1395. You can watch along, of course, still on the 5AA Facebook and YouTube live feeds. Just waiting on the Prime Minister of New Zealand, Jacinda Ardern. Lots to come on the show, though, this morning as well. Vincent Tarzia will join us after 7 o'clock. Consultations open for the state's bushfire plan for the next 5 years. What are the lessons we've learnt from fighting bushfires past in some really scary incidents the last 24 to 36 months here in South Australia? We'll find out after 7. What about the prospect of 40 km/h speed limits in the North St. Peter's Council area? Not on the main roads, they're handled by the Department of Transport, but they discussed it last night at a council meeting. We'll speak with Robert Breer about that. They also probably, David, I imagine, heard some residents' concerns about a story that you've covered in depth in The Australian, being the prominence of the Chinese consulate in that suburb.
There's been a lot of discussion at the council. I know that the mayor himself was summoned to the consul for a friendly fireside chat, to the consulate, I should say, by the consul a couple of weeks ago, where he was given a chance to explain the concerns of residents to I would have to say, a group of people who insist that there aren't any concerns, that the whole concerns are a fiction, a media fantasy, that somehow these residents either don't exist or have got it completely wrong. And I think that the council is sort of stuck in the middle here, because they haven't got any power to override federal laws and international conventions, the Vienna Convention, as it relates to the free and unfettered operation of any embassy. Once the approval has been given, it's completely out of their hands, and that's what's driving people mad. Jocelyn.
Well, that's driving people mad there. The thing that's got everyone in Australia celebrating is international travel being back, and well might it be our friends across the ditch in New Zealand who we're going to be able to venture to first. But don't take our word for it. Here's the Prime Minister of New Zealand, Jacinda Ardern. Prime Minister, good morning to you and welcome to 5AA Breakfast.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks so much for talking to us, Prime Minister. Look, we're so excited about this. Both Will and I were talking earlier about the wonderful trip we had to the South Island, separately, of course, a couple of years ago. But tell us about how this is going to work. Are there any rules that are going to apply for Aussies going to New Zealand or New Zealanders coming over here?
Yeah, just the things you'd expect, really. We want to make sure we've got your contact details when you're coming through, just in case we need to find you for any reason, and would really love it, of course, if every visitor used our COVID Tracer app to just as you are in Australia, just scanning into places you're visiting. And otherwise, that's it. The same kind of approach that you have in Australia to just, washing your hands, the basics will all apply here. We try and practice good hygiene just like you do. That's about it. And just keeping an eye on any alerts or changes in case of an outbreak. But ultimately, the message of welcome. We want you to come and visit us. We want family and friends to be reunited, and that's what this is all about.
Anyone who's travelled in Australia, Prime Minister, over the last 18 months knows that you do so at your own risk, largely, because the COVID situation could change. That goes true, obviously, for New Zealand as well. Has there been any threshold established or protocol around how many cases would mean that the bubble would be popped?
No, because essentially, what we've all learned is that no two situations are the same, really. And so we will, apply the same approach that we have in New Zealand to outbreaks as you have in Queensland and the likes. We'll essentially mirror that. So, Queensland's recent experience, they went into that 3-day short, sharp lockdown. That'd be an example where we may, for instance, pause flights for 3 days in response to that. But it will be pretty predictable. And, essentially we'll treat Australia just like an extra region to New Zealand, albeit a very large one, and we'll apply the same kind of approach that you already are within your states as well. So just apply a hotspot approach and restrict travel in and out based on that.
Prime Minister, there's been some concerns here in Australia about the slowness of the vaccine rollout in Australia. How has it been tracking in New Zealand, and do you see it as something like so many Aussies do that is vital to getting it up and running so that we can get the economy bubbling along again and get things like tourism back on track?
I guess the point that I'd make is the reason that around the world, everyone is moving to roll out vaccines is so that people can get their freedoms back and their lives back. And for the most part, New Zealand and Australia have had that. So for us, the vaccine offers something quite different than what many other countries are seeking. And so that's one of the reasons, I think, for both sides of the ditch. We haven't been amongst the first to start vaccines because literally the vaccine in other parts of the world has been a life or death question, and it hasn't been for us. And so we're probably in a similar camp as you, rolling out the vaccine, but trying to do it at the same time as maintaining a strategy that means that we keep all the freedoms we've already got, but we eventually transition from our borders being our barricade and our protection to the vaccine being our individual armoury so that we can open up to the rest of the world. So we're pretty similar approach you'll find over here.
Prime Minister, does the travel bubble between Australia and New Zealand necessitate now our federal government's working in concert to work on the roadmap as to which countries might open up next? Can they operate independent of one another?
Yeah, they can, but it does mean that each country still reserves the right if New Zealand makes a decision to open up to another country and Australia is a bit uncomfortable with that, they have the right to stop travel, and likewise for us. So everyone maintains their ability to make those individual decisions. Although there's nothing formal around what's required between us if we do that, we've got good relationships. Yesterday, before we made our public announcement about opening up, I gave Anastasia a quick call and I gave Gladys a quick call and just let them know that we've made this decision, and I expect that if anything crops up along the way, we'll have that kind of informal ability to be in touch with one another and talk through any issues as they come up.
Prime Minister, we know that New Zealand is a really important regional player in the South Pacific with countries like Vanuatu and all the various states of Micronesia and Samoa and what have you. Have you had any discussions with any of your fellow leaders there about the prospect of getting other little mini travel bubbles up and running with places like Fiji and Vanuatu and so on that are much loved holiday destinations for Australians as well?
We've prioritised for us the Cook Islands and Niue. That's because of our relationship with those islands and those communities. We're aiming to get quarantine-free travel. At the moment, you can come from the Cook Islands into New Zealand quarantine-free, but New Zealanders can't go out. We're aiming to get that two-way arrangement up and running in May. And Niue, likewise, we're now ready. We're looking to be able to open up there as well. So that's our next focus. I know Fiji is keen. We haven't got any formal plans there yet. For us, and I imagine for you, it's all about what can we do next that's safe. How do we maintain the position we've got and not lose anything by opening up before we're ready?
Fantastic stuff. Thanks so much for talking to us, Jacinda Ardern, the New Zealand Prime Minister.
I look forward to seeing you sometime soon.
Hey, good luck with the hundreds of thousands of Australians who've had nowhere to go for the last 2 years coming across the ditch too.
We're looking forward to it. You know, such a big part of who we are welcoming other people from around the world. We've really missed it. So expect that you might be somewhat smothered by love and affection in a way you've not experienced before.
You got to get to Adelaide to try some of our Pinot Noir as well. It might not be quite as good as yours, but it's up there.
I am happy to have a contest.
Yeah, you're on.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Good stuff.
Prime Minister, thanks for your time.
Take care. See you soon.
Cheers.
The Prime Minister of New Zealand, Jacinda Ardern.
Looking forward to the Pinot Challenge.
Oh, yeah, let's book that in.
Absolutely.
This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
Sunny and 28 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra is a registered NDIS provider, so let them support you in achieving your goals. PhysioExtra.com.
More than 100,000 people a week are expected to travel between Australia and New Zealand once the two-way travel bubble is operating. Airlines are welcoming the start of quarantine-free travel from the 19th of April. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has told FIVEaa Breakfast how they'll handle any potential COVID outbreaks.
We'll treat Australia just like an extra region to New Zealand, albeit a very large one, and we'll apply the same kind of approach that you already are within your states as well. So just apply a hotspot approach and restrict travel in and out based on that.
James Goodwin from the Australian Airports Association says it will be a huge confidence boost for the industry.
The new arrangements will allow Australians and New Zealanders to reconnect with their family and friends, and also for business to be able to reconnect. We expect that we'll see a lot of emotional scenes at our airports in the next couple of weeks.
Firefighters converged on the Broadway at Glenelg South last night. A blaze at a small supermarket broke out around 7:30. The damage bill has been put at $200,000. A vigil was held for Anne-Marie Smith last night on the steps of Parliament House. More than 150 people marked a year since the death of the disability neglect victim. 15 names were read out. They were South Australians who've died following neglect, abuse and violence over the past 2 decades. Researchers have come up with a way to predict if a baby is likely to develop obesity as a child. Nine's Laura Anderson has more.
Almost a quarter of children in Australia aged between 5 and 17 are overweight or obese. The University of Queensland has created the iPathway model, calculating the likelihood of obesity with 75% accuracy. It factors in things like premature birth, sleeping patterns, if the mother smoked during pregnancy, as well as the parent's age and weight. It was developed by researchers who kept track of 2,000 newborns to the age of 9. Further trials are still needed before GPs can start applying it, but it's hoped families will soon be better equipped to prevent childhood obesity.
Now turning to FIVEaa Sport.
3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers. Flurio Milk Company. In your supermarket now.
What's happening at Westlake's, Tom Wren?
Well, unfortunately, Mel, a big blow for Adelaide, with Daniel Talia set to miss at least 2 months as he recovers from foot surgery. But the Crows could be boosted by the return of Dave McKay for Sunday's clash against North Melbourne at Marvel Stadium. Meantime, Essendon's Dylan Shield will be out of action for 4 months after having surgery to repair his damaged knee. Shield suffered a torn meniscus in round 2. Let's go to cricket. Queensland will host the Sheffield Shield final against New South Wales. Allan Border Field will be the venue. Yesterday's game between the two teams ended in a draw. Bulls leg spinner Mitchell Swepson took 4 second innings wickets and says he's looking forward to a home final.
Locking in a Shield final spot is it's a great feeling, and the guys are pretty up and about getting a spot in the Shield final. So yeah, it's a good place to be.
Meantime, South Australia's final Shield match of the season finished in a draw yesterday against Victoria. The match also the final one for Chad Sayers. A controversial late penalty has rescued a point for the Central Coast Mariners, drawing 2-2 against the Western Sydney Wanderers. And it's full-time in European Champions League action for the morning. It's quarter-final time and the results have been mixed for the English teams. Manchester City recording a late winner to beat Borussia Dortmund 2-1. But Liverpool went down 3-1 against Real Madrid. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi Solitaire, Metro Dealer of the Year. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
Sunny for your Wednesday, 28. Cloud increasing tomorrow, 31. Right now it's 12. More news as it happens on 5AA.
If you're planning an event, whether it's a small meeting with the latest in reliable technology or a large gala dinner full of glitz and glamour, you'll experience event excellence on every level at the Adelaide Convention Centre. Excellence in understanding your needs and delivering them to exacting standards is what we do. And we don't just aim for excellence, we go beyond. So for your next excellent event, the team is ready and waiting at the Adelaide Convention Centre, the centre of event excellence.
When you think surgery, you think hospital, right? Well, Dr. Greg Keane wants you to think SportsMed.
SportsMed is the only purpose-built orthopaedic hospital in the country, with world-class nursing and theatre staff, a first-class catering team, and the latest innovations in patient treatment and care.
And your surgeons?
We're experts in all procedures for hips, knees, feet, ankles, shoulders, elbows, wrists and hands.
All your treatments, all your care. One place. SportsMed.
Start living life again after your successful surgery.
sportsmed.com.au.
There's no blueprints to your new custom-built Beechwood home. Well, not yet anyway. But together with Beechwood, it won't take long to turn your ideas into sketches, then drawings, and finally a home you can live a beautiful life in. That's the really exciting thing about building with Beechwood Homes. They'll build the home you want. So collect your thoughts, your ideas, your Pinterest boards, whatever, and let's talk. Because life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
Port Adelaide are back. And so are we. We're back marching. We're back singing. We're back together. Experience it live, loud and in person. 3-game memberships from just $100. Grab yours from the Port Adelaide website today. You've got to be there.
We hear you. You've lived enough to know you want more. More time, more freedom, more living. Introducing Encore Apartments from ECH, a new vertical retirement village at Modbury, opposite Tea Tree Plaza. 77 two-bedroom apartments, all with private balconies, plus on-site cafe, fitness centre and community garden. Book an appointment to see the new display suite at Parkside or visit echencore.com.au.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
16 to 7. If you're just joining us, you missed our chat with New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern. We will replay it a little bit later in the morning, though. Interesting information on the nature of the travel bubble, what the obligations will be on you as a traveller. In fact, they sound few.
It sounds as onerous as going down to Foodland.
It does.
You've got to use your check-in so that they know where you are, and you've got to wash your hands.
Yeah.
All right, I'm up for that.
That's pretty manageable.
Yeah, and don't forget to pack your toothbrush.
Yeah.
Pretty easy.
We will replay it a little bit later because there's lots of great information in that chat, and we'll do that sometime after 7 o'clock. Let's check it with SAPOL. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad joins us. Morning to you, Kimberly.
Good morning.
Now, there has been a serious crash at the Mid-North. What can you tell us?
It was about 8:40 last night. We had our emergency service called to Upper York Road at Ninnis in the state's Mid-North. had a Holden sedan, had left the road and crashed into a tree. Now, the driver and sole occupant of that car, a 43-year-old Queensland man, sustained serious injuries in the crash, and he was airlifted to the Royal Adelaide Hospital for treatment. Now, Upper York Road was closed to traffic for several hours, but reopened just after 11 o'clock last night. Just asking anybody with information that may assist that crash investigation to call us on Crime Stoppers 1800 333 000.
Kimberley, also, tell us about this bloke that you've arrested after he cut off his home detention bracelet.
It's one man, Billy Hayes. We put him out a couple of days ago after he did cut off it was a breach of intensive supervision order. He was also wanted on an assault warrant, but it was just after 8:30 last night that we had police and our Star Group officers attend in the Glandore area, and where they did arrest Billy Hayes without incident. So he's obviously been refused bail, and he'll be appearing in the Port Adelaide Magistrates Court later today.
And also you've got some info on a Port Lincoln drink driver.
Yeah, horrific reading for this fellow. About 6 o'clock last night, we received a report of a Holden four-wheel drive. It collided with a Stobie pole on Tyler Street at Port Lincoln before driving off. Now, we've located the car parked in Mortlock Terrace and spoke with the driver, who was then breath tested. He's allegedly produced a blood alcohol reading of 0.254. Now, that's more than 5 times the legal limit. So a 59-year-old man from Port Lincoln, he's been reported for drink driving, issued with an instant loss of licence for 12 months, and also had his car impounded, so he'll also be fronting court at a later date.
Good stuff. Thank you, Kimberley. Senior Constable Kimberley Broad from SAPOL. Let's talk weather. Simon Timke is the senior forecaster at the Bureau. Morning to you, Simon.
Good morning, guys.
How long is this sensational weather going to continue, Simon? It's just been an extraordinary run.
It's pretty nice, isn't it? It's a shame that we didn't extend Easter for another couple of days this year, really, to make the most of it.
Yeah, can you guys do that? Is it too late?
I wish we had that sort of power.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, certainly another beautiful day in Adelaide today. In fact, right across the state, pretty much. Looking at the satellite picture at the moment, there's a little bit of high cloud in the far west of the state. We've got a bit of fog in some parts as well, sort of east of the Mount Lofty Ranges. There's a little bit of fog also about Kangaroo Island and the southeast districts. A little bit of low cloud about Port Lincoln too. But here in Adelaide, clear skies today, and we're forecasting a maximum of 28 degrees for the city, 29 for Elizabeth and for Mount Barker as well, 26 for Glenelg, 27 degrees for Noarlunga. The wind's generally pretty light right now, but they'll turn around southwesterly early this afternoon, maybe get up to around 15 to 20 kilometres per hour, and then they'll become light again for the evening. But probably need to make the most of the sunshine today. We'll see a bit of cloud develop gradually during Thursday. There's a trough moving across the south of the state, so conditions will be sort of warmish ahead of that. We're forecasting a maximum of 31 degrees for the city for Thursday, but the following few days will be quite a bit cooler behind that trough. We've got some cooler air coming through, so for Friday, just a slight chance of a shower about the hills and southern suburbs. And 24 degrees the maximum, and then a little bit cooler again for the weekend. A fair chance that there'll be a couple of showers around for Saturday, 21 degrees. I don't expect the totals to be too great, but there will be the odd shower around for Saturday. Sunday, a bit of cloud persisting, but should be dry, 21 degrees as well. So a bit cooler over the weekend, and then temperatures slowly rising early next week. For Monday, mostly sunny day, 22 degrees. Tuesday, slight chance of a shower a bit later in the day, up to 25 degrees. So warm early, but a cool weekend ahead of us.
Good on you, Simon. Thank you for that. Simon Timke, Senior Forecaster at the Weather Bureau. It's 12 to 7. We'll check traffic in just a moment. Then we're going to catch up with Michael Smith from 7 News, and we're flashing back, celebrating the 50th anniversary of some iconic Australian television. That's coming up in just a moment. But first, the traffic, thanks to Dave Potter, Australia's #1 Honda dealer, second year running, davepotterhonda.com.au.
Slow going around Maslin Beach at Main South Road near Tatachilla Road. A car has collided with a roo here, causing delays. In Jeps Cross at Cavan Road near Churchill Road North. Gas works are happening around this one. To South Plimpton around Marion Road near Wood Street. Asphalt works are slowing things down for southbound travellers. COVID-19 vaccinations are now available for people 70 years and over. Roll up now. Visit covidvaccine.sa.gov.au for more information. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on FIVEaa.
You might think having thousands of pals is excessive, but that's not what the team at Parafield Airport Liquor Store think, because that's how many they have. Sure, they might be made up of over 100 gins, over 200 whiskies, over 300 craft beers, and over 2,000 boutique wines. But they're some of the best pals you could have, and they're always looking for more, even if they are tricky to track down. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
Had an accident? Some insurers don't offer unlimited not-at-fault car hire, but Amy does. Just give us the other driver's details. So instead of being on a bus squished next to a bodybuilder listening to... oh, heavy metal. Lovely. You can enjoy a hire car. Just you and the open road. Go with the doers. Amy does. T's and C's apply. Benefit stops when you get your car back or we settle your claim. Before buying insurance issued by AAI Limited, trading as Amy, read the PDS at amy.com.au.
Not all superheroes wear capes. In fact, you can save the world with a single phone call and a commitment to stop buying plastic bottles.
That's right, Will. We've got a friend staying from an estate at the moment, and she went to get a glass of water last night, and she said, "Oh, is that regular Adelaide tap water?" I said, "No, that's a Pura tap." And she went, "Ooh, la-di-da."
Oh, thank you very much.
So there you go.
Is that why she came down?
Mainly, yeah. Oh, she wanted to have a holiday too, but she did want to see the Pura Tap. Join Pura Tap's war on waste by reducing single-use plastics. Fill up your bottles and tanks with great-tasting Pura Tap water.
Now, that is pure sustainability. And when you think of the money you'll save, it's pure value too.
And how good is this? I mean, you can afford a holiday if you get a Pura Tap, because they're only $49 up front. That is pure value.
Yeah, get one for you and one for your friends. That's
one
a design
for Shannon from Geelong.
Exactly
over
right.
for the weekend.
That's a designer tap, installation and filters for 2 years on a great payment plan. Call Puratap on 133502 or go to puratap.com.au. Some T's and C's apply, and have a purely relaxing rest of your week.
Before Adelaide 4x4 and Outdoor.
After Adelaide 4x4 and Outdoor. Put some muscle in your four-wheel drive and head to Adelaide 4x4 and Outdoor, Adelaide's home of Ironman 4x4. Goodwood Road, Wayville, and a new store now open on South Road, Morford Vale.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
8 to 7. This is why you should watch the 5AA Facebook and YouTube live stream, because the shock on David's face as he looked up and realised the Sesame Street theme was playing. It was just a wonderful insight.
It was more the fact that it seemed to have been like reworked by some demented DJ to take in Blondie's Heart of Glass as well.
That was anyway, my mad skills on the panel.
Mad skills.
Now, we have Sesame Street Circus spectacular tickets to give away. The circus is in town. If you know your Sesame Street and want to check out their Circus Spectacular, give us a call now, 8223 0055. You can get tickets at Ticketmaster. We're going to give away a family pass in just a moment by playing a little game of Sesame Street, Who Am I? That's coming up. But first, let's flash back with Michael Smith from 7 News. Morning to you, Michael.
Good morning, Will and Dave. An all-singing, all-dancing edition of Flashback for you today, because it was 50 years ago this month the little show launched on our TV screens, which would go on to become a firm family favourite across the country on a Saturday night. We are marking the 50th anniversary, can you believe it's been 50 years, of Young Talent Time. Were you guys ever regular viewers?
As a young kid, it was always on every weekend with what's his name again? Johnny
Young.
Johnny Young. Of course, Young Talent Time.
Yeah.
That was the play on words, wasn't it?
Yeah, I must. When did it run to, Michael? I remember it, but geez, I must have been young.
Had an incredible run. It lasted 18 years, finished in 1989.
Yeah.
All sorts of famous names came out of it. Of course, Tina Arena probably being the most famous, but also Debbie Byrne, Joey Perrone, Jamie Redfern, who famously went to America with Liberace. Danny Minogue was on the show, so a great launching pad for a lot of young careers.
It certainly was, and it was a ratings juggernaut, wasn't it, Michael?
Did extremely well, and I've unearthed a 1986 edition of the show where they came to South Australia for a special program. It's pretty cheesy, I've got to say. It features the kids singing Bound for South Australia up at Old Tailem Town. They're playing with the Dolphins at Marineland and doing some sort of weird aerobics thing around the festival plaza. I've caught up with Johnny Young, who's 74 now, and he reckons the reason it was so successful for so long is that it was a really wholesome show.
We set a tone with Young Talent Time, which was one of wholesomeness, good feelings, positivity. It created a wonderful attitude towards kids and music that still lasts today, I think.
And if you were a fan of the show, make sure you're watching 7 News tonight at 6 because we have a special announcement to make. Can't say too much, but some of your favourites might be back on stage in Adelaide later this year.
Well, it sounds like, some sort of reunion type thing?
Can't say too much.
Come on, Michael.
You might very well think that I couldn't possibly comment.
Just have to tune in and find out for ourselves. Good on you, Michael.
Thanks, guys.
Michael Smith flashing
Come on,
back
answer
on
the question,
7 News.
Michael.
Yeah, that's right. That's what we do here. It's not that kind of program.
Give him the full state government minister treatment.
Yeah, that's right. We only
Come on here and mislead our listeners.
Yeah, that's right. We push for answers. We do the hard news. We also give away Sesame Street Circus tickets. Bill in North Plimpton. Good morning.
G'day, David. Where are you going?
Good, Bill.
Good, thanks, Bill. You big Sesame Street buff, mate?
Well, years ago, my age, I used to watch it every day on the ABC, but I'll see how I'll go with the question. I've got 2 granddaughters, so hopefully I'll go okay.
Fingers crossed for you, Bill.
No, you'll be fine.
Got a good feeling about this.
Yeah, we'll be fine. Here we go. I am the only character on Sesame Street with 5 fingers. Don't know why I said that in a sinister voice. My real first name is actually Sid. In recent years, due to concerns about childhood obesity in the United States, I've learned to love foods like eggplant and asparagus, but they're not my favourite food. I'm the host of the Monster Piece Theatre, where I appear under the name Alistair Cookie. My favourite letter is C. My favourite food is chocolate chip cookie.
Oscar the Grouch.
Oh, Bill, please.
Bill, would you like to have another go, Bill?
I better have another go.
Bill, C is for cookie.
Cookie Monster.
We knew you knew it. We knew you knew it, Bill, and you've got the tickets, my friend. Congratulations to you.
That'll make the granddaughters very happy. Thank you very much for that.
No, not
Bill,
a
I got to
problem,
say, mate, you're lucky you mentioned the granddaughters because that's the only reason you won.
Thank you, Dave.
Bill is off to the Sesame Street Circus Spectacular.
How appalling is the quality control on this segment?
A lot of people...
Oscar the Grouch.
A lot
We're not
of
laughing
people...
at you, Bill. We're laughing with you, mate.
Well, here's the thing.
And you got the
We've
ticket.
done this twice now, and a lot of people come on talking a big game about the years they spent watching Sesame Street. Geez, you don't have to dig deep to realise there's not a real font of knowledge there sometimes.
No, I'm putting that down as a slip of the tongue.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it was just
That's
a
why
brain
I thought.
fade. It was just a brain fade.
Cookie Monster, Oscar the Grouch, Big Bird.
Easy mistake to make.
Yeah, I do it all the time.
And look, it's not like we're giving away the Scott Scoresbury home on the Esplanade at Henley Beach, frankly.
Exactly right.
I mean, it's a great little prize.
Fantastic prize.
But yes. So just ring in tomorrow, folks, and just, I mean, your guess might be, Ren and Stimpy is your favourite Sesame Street character, or maybe Travis Bickle from Taxi Driver is your favourite Sesame Street character, or, Moses.
A few people have texted in making the point, since when did you become a stickler for the rules?
I know, I thought that. What's the word? Egregious. That was an egregious breach of...
I think if anyone was running a critical rule over the program, they might say this is the natural end point from years of you eroding the quality of answers on the show and giving away free prizes.
This is the kind of rubbish you end up with in a rules-free environment.
This is this new PC world. Oh, well, you gave us an answer, that'll do.
Well, I didn't want to be the one who'd say to Bill, mate, you got to break the news to your granddaughters, then I'll go.
No, Bill sounded excellent, and I'm pretty sure he knew all along. He just said something else for the comedic value.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he was
in on the joke.
Great timing, Bill. Circus Spectacular, Sesame Street Circus Spectacular is in town. You can get tickets now from Ticketmaster. We're a minute away from 7 o'clock. In a moment, Vince Atazio will join us. We'll talk about the bushfire plan for South Australia that's been set out for the next 5 years. It's out for consultation at the moment. You might be in an affected area and be particularly interested. We'd love to hear from you, and you can put a question to Vincent Tazia as well, 8223 0000. Also, Robert Breer, the Mayor of North St Peters, will join us to talk about a host of things, the Chinese consulate, 40k an hour speed limits and more. We've got some texts coming through on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line. Andrew says, travelling to New Zealand sounds far less onerous than going to Perth. I think that's true.
Probably with a much lesser likelihood that you'll be locked up as well, or not told upon landing you're not allowed to get off the plane.
We might be the new Western Australia, the way this border travel situation's going.
Well, we are Western New Zealand.
Another text without a name on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line says the Bureau isn't able to extend Easter, but the Education Department could have started holidays this week. Going back for 4 days is ridiculous.
Yeah, I've heard a few parents saying that.
Yeah. 7 o'clock, 5AA News Time. Back shortly.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Sunny and 28 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
Tourism industry leaders say Australia's travel bubble with New Zealand has been a long time coming. Australians will be able to enter New Zealand without having to go into hotel quarantine from April 19. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has told 5AA Breakfast there's a great dialogue between the two countries, which will come in handy if problems arise.
Although there's nothing formal around what's required between us if we do that, we've got good relationships. I expect that if anything crops up along the way, we'll have that kind of informal ability to be in touch with one another and talk through any issues as they come up.
Wanted man Billy J. Hayes is back in custody. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad says a warrant was issued for the 28-year-old after he cut off his home detention bracelet.
Just after 8:30 last night that we had police and our Star Group officers attend in the Glandore area where they did arrest Billy Hayes without incident. So he's obviously been refused bail and he'll be appearing in the Port Adelaide Magistrates Court later today.
A Queensland man has sustained serious injuries after a crash at Ninnis in the state's mid-north. The 43-year-old's car left the road and slammed into a tree around 8:30 last night. He was airlifted to the RAR. The crash is under investigation. The state government and ambulance union head back to the negotiating table today. They're in mediation in the SA Employment Tribunal in a fight over resources. The government is hoping to reach a compromise by offering extra ambulance officers in return for roster reform. The use of so-called COVID vaccine passports has become a political flashpoint in the United States as life slowly starts to return to normal. Nine's Amelia Adams is stateside.
All American adults can sign up for a COVID shot by April 19. President Biden shifting the deadline forward by 2 weeks. America has administered more than 167 million COVID vaccine doses. More than 62 million people are fully vaccinated, and over the weekend a new record, 4 million jabs in one day. And as states grapple with how to navigate life in the post-pandemic landscape, the governors of Florida and now Texas have banned vaccine passports, which would require proof of a COVID shot to allow entry to venues and businesses. The White House today quashing rumours the government is considering a federal vaccine mandate.
The government is not now, nor will we be supporting a system that requires Americans to carry a credential.
A tropical cyclone continues to track off the northwest of WA. The Category 1 system is not expected to impact the mainland until late this week. Parts of the Pilbara and Gascoyne coasts are on alert. The cyclone has wreaked havoc in Indonesia and East Timor, with record rainfall triggering deadly mudslides and claiming more than 150 lives. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Who loves South Australia as much as you do? Flurio Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Adelaide defender Daniel Talia could be sidelined for up to 10 weeks with the 29-year-old set to undergo surgery on his foot. But there is some encouraging news for midfielder Matt Crouch. Head of football Adam Kelly telling the club's website he's making progress from his groin problems.
Yeah, Matt Crouch is expected to return to some running, on-ground running this week, which is pleasing. At this point in time, it's too early to make a call on exactly when he will return to play, but pleasingly we'll see him return to running this week.
Essendon midfielder Dylan Shields' knee injury is worse than first thought and he may be out of action all season. Shield underwent an arthroscopy after suffering a torn meniscus in round 2, but head of high performance Sean Murphy says he opted for more surgery.
In the end, the meniscal tear was quite significant. The decision was made to actually repair the meniscal tear. So what that means now is that it's actually more of a lengthy period in terms of his rehab process.
2 completed games in the European Champions League where it's quarter-final action. Real Madrid has beaten Liverpool 3-1 in the first leg of their tie, while Manchester City had a 2-1 win against Borussia Dortmund. And golfers have completed their first practice round at Augusta National before the Masters begin on Thursday night. 5 Australians are among the field: Adam Scott, Jason Day, Mark Leishman, Cameron Smith and Matt Jones. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Dave Potter, Australia's #1 Honda dealer, 2nd year running. DavePotterHonda.com.au.
Keep an eye out for a prang in Campbelltown at Glimburn Road near Paynham Road. A 2-car incident here. In Crapers on the freeway uptrack near the tunnels, a broken down car causing some delays as well. Busy on South Road around Grange Road for the run into the city, and also South Road at Anzac Highway slowing. Making funeral arrangements can be difficult. When you need to, talk to Alfred James, your family-owned South Australian funeral directors. Alfred James, the final farewell matters. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi Solitaire, Metro Dealer of the Year. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
Sunny and 28 today, cloud increasing tomorrow 31, Friday partly cloudy 24. Right now it's 12 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
In the last hour on Adelaide's 5AA.
Here's the Prime Minister of New Zealand, Jacinda Ardern. Prime Minister, good morning to you and welcome to 5AA Breakfast.
We want to make sure we've got your contact details when you're coming through, just in case we need to find you for any reason. And would really love it, of course, if every visitor used our COVID tracer app to just as you are in Australia, just scanning into places you're visiting. And otherwise, that's it. The same kind of approach that you have in Australia to just washing your hands, the basics will all apply here. Or just seeing you sometime soon.
Hey, good luck with the hundreds of thousands of Australians who've had nowhere to go for the last 2 years coming across the ditch too.
We're looking forward to it. Such a big part of who we are welcoming other people from around the world. We've really missed it. So expect that you might be somewhat smothered by love and affection.
You got to get to Adelaide to try some of our Pinot Noir as well. It might not be quite as good as yours, but it's up there.
I am happy to have a contest.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
7 after 7. If you are a venue that wants to host the Pinot drinking competition between 5AA Breakfast and the New Zealand Prime Minister, just contact the front desk here, level 4 Highmarsh Square, and someone will be happy to accommodate it.
Yeah, maybe the people at Commune of Buttons up in the Adelaide Hills.
Look, I'm sure
Terrific
there are a couple of places that could do it.
Yeah, fantastic stuff.
We will replay in full our conversation with Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern after 8 o'clock today. We've got a spot for it there. And you'll get to hear all the detail around things like not just the requirements for you entering New Zealand, but what are the circumstances under which the travel bubble might collapse? What are the mutual obligations when it comes to allowing more countries into places like Australia and New Zealand? We asked a whole heap of questions around the fundamentals about how that'll work, and you'll hear that a little bit later in the show. It's 8 minutes after 7, a big local concern that certainly people in the hills and surrounds will be fascinated to hear about in detail is the release of the South Australian bushfire plan. It's out for consultation. It covers a span of the next 5 years. The Emergency Services Minister is Vincent Tarzia, and he joins us now. Minister, good morning.
Morning, Will. Morning, Dave. Morning to your listeners.
Thanks for joining us, Minister. So, in a nutshell, what are the sort of key recommendations that have come out from this inquiry so far?
Yeah, sure, not a problem at all. So, thanks for your time. So, obviously, our government is dedicated to creating a more bushfire resilient state, and we agree that there's nothing more important, obviously, than protecting lives and property. And what we're asking South Australians to do is to have their say on the plan that's been put out on the state government site, yoursay.sa.gov.au. But there's various aspects. What the plan will do is it's looking to get people's feedback on what they think are the major bushfire risks in the state, with a focus of understanding different risks at a strategic level, but also establish different kinds of principles to support levels of hazard reduction. We know that hazard reduction was an enormous, if you like, contentious issue, especially after the 1925. How strategic coordination can be done better amongst land managers, also the other agencies, also looking at requirements for preparation and implementation of different bushfire management area plans to look at things like landscape risk across our regions. We're the first jurisdiction in all of the country to commission an independent bushfire review in 1920. That was held by Mr. McKilty AO, former commissioner to the Australian Federal Police. And look, that put out a number of findings and recommendations. We've committed over $100 million since then to that. But what we're asking South Australians to do is just to get online, have a look at it, have their say. We appreciate any input. I'm actually heading out to the Adelaide Hills today with Josh Teague and also Dan Cregan out in the Adelaide Hills to thank the CFS for the amazing work that they do.
Is it primarily, Minister, a document that relates to the way in which government agencies coordinate bushfire responses and preventative measures? Or does it go to does it go to what private landowners are required to do and what their obligations are? Because I had a look at the feedback on the website. One of the points made by someone was that they weren't clear, having read through the plan, what it meant for them as a private landowner.
Yeah, absolutely. So both of those aspects will be caught in. It also touches on what we've been able to do as a government since that recommendation has since those reports have been put in place. But things like putting in more staff, more equipment, better protection for critical assets, enhancing the communications. Communication seems to be a reiterating theme, and that's why we need to work very hard to make sure that we continue to improve that communication so that people know what they can burn, can't burn, when they can, and make sure things like our app, our Alert SA app, are continually monitored, and that we have no issues with communication, especially in some of those black spot areas.
Do you have any thoughts, Minister, about the specific issues that have been identified as being problems in the fighting of the Kangaroo Island bushfires, where it went to what sounded like tensions within the crews and suggestions that some crews were so unimpressed or unhappy with their managers that they effectively went rogue and were fighting the fire the way they thought the fire should have been fought, and often ignoring directives from above. Have you had a chance to have a look into that?
Yeah, David, it's a really good question. So that review into the KI fires. So in the past, those things haven't been publicly available. I was very certain that it needed to be made public, and that one was made public. And to his credit, the CFS chief, Mark Jones, actually headed to the island, conducted two information sessions, if you like. Locals there were able to attend, and I think that was certainly beneficial. So look, after every one of these fires, we always get a bit better. I think that's the clear message. We always review it. We don't have all the answers all the time, but I think all in all, given the catastrophic conditions we had over 35% of the island that was burned in basically one day on the 3rd of January that year. There's certainly a range of areas to improve, things like making sure that we have new trucks. So a lot of the trucks needed upgrades, and we've put out already another 25. We've also put out things like thermal imaging cameras. So in the past, some of these crews were using older technology. Now these cameras basically see heat. It's just a much easier way, much more effective way of mopping up and containing small blazes across the place. Automatic vehicle location was also recommended in one of those reviews. At the moment, you can't see where these trucks are. So you could be, say, in the Adelaide Hills, being sent out to KI in the middle of the night in dark, smoky conditions. You might not be able to see where the trucks are. That could be dangerous if, say, there's a wind change and you're in unfamiliar surroundings. So AVL, automatic vehicle location, is now being deployed, 2 trucks right across the state. And we'll continue to monitor other things. For the first time ever, we'll have a full-time resource on KI, full-time staffing resource. It'll be a very special person, let me tell you. But they'll be deployed on the island to address these sorts of issues, how we can communicate better. But, really get down and talk to the CFS crews, the volunteers, make sure that, they feel that they're being heard as well. So, but in this part of the portfolio, it's always about, continuous improvement. Every time there's a fire, we get a bit better.
It's an important document. Minister, appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you, gents.
Emergency Service Minister Vincent Tarsi. You can go to yoursay.sa.gov.au and leave your thoughts on the draft state bushfire management plan. It spans 2021 to 2025. 14 after 7. Let's check traffic thanks to Dave Potter. Their Mad March demo clearance is on now with huge savings and factory bonuses across the range.
Slow going through Campbelltown around Glenburn Road at Paynham Road. A two-car accident is causing some delays here. To Crayford on the freeway uptrack near the tunnels, a broken down car causing issues and slowing traffic. Busy for the run into the city also at South Road from Grange Road onwards and also around Anzac Highway on South Road as well. Get expert home loan advice from a mortgage choice broker. They'll go the extra length to find you the right home loan and save you thousands. Visit mortgagechoice.com.au for your nearest broker. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Leon Biner.
There's been a suggestion that you and I should be hit by a flood levy. Be under no illusion that this is a government initiative. And you need to know that such a call for this is not anything you did or didn't do. We are building on floodplains and we don't harvest sufficient rainwater, which would reduce the flooding potential.
9 till 12 weekdays.
How convenient to remove open vacant space and instead cover it with concrete.
On 5AA.
Peter Shearer Menswear is the brand with the brands. For more than 50 years, our experience has put us ahead of the latest fashion trends. Always. As the largest independently owned menswear brand in South Australia, we will match any genuine price on identical items. Always. But most importantly, our staff are helpful, honest, and understand all body shapes are unique. The Peter Shearer Menswear commitment to ensuring customer satisfaction means we give right and honest advice. Always. Peter Shearer Menswear. Rundle Mall, Glenelg, Mount Barker, and online.
Don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. When you need a forklift, don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. Get the world's #1 forklift brand. Get legendary Toyota reliability, get world-leading safety, and get it from toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For sales, service, and hire, get a Toyota forklift.
iHealth on healthy living. Thanks to Specsavers.
Simon Kelly is an optometrist.
There's a variety of causes of conjunctivitis. Allergy is a common one. Then of course there's infections, which is where it gets the bad rap from things like bacteria and viruses. And then it can just be as a reaction to something getting in the eye. I suppose the key thing is, firstly, if your eyes don't feel right, go and get it checked out, because these things can present in a few different ways. The most important thing is if it's in one eye, I'd be particularly worried. Most conjunctivitis always end up in the two eyes.
Okay, when you say you'd be worried, what are you worried about then if it's in one eye?
Well, if it's in one eye, it could be something else. Conjunctivitis is outside the eye, but if it's inside the eye or involving the cornea, it's a totally different problem, needs a totally different treatment, and that's why it's important to go and see someone about it rather than just, she'll be right.
Specsavers, where every eye test includes an OCT Advanced 3D eye scan at no extra charge.
When people walk through the doors at Pals, the first thing they say is wow. Not only because of the size and the selection, but also because of the team. Sam and Jamie have tasted every drop. They and their team can recommend a whiskey that's just as good as that hard-to-find Japanese one, if they don't have it, that is. Or a beautiful red that's reminiscent of that outstanding cellar door you once travelled so far to visit. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide. At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
18 minutes after 7. Jake Kelly was on with Stephen Rowe last night. Got asked questions about concussion that have been picked up right around the country. We'll get to those in just a moment. But first, the Mayor of the Nord, Paynham and St Peter's Council, Robert Breer, joins us. Mayor, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, David, and good morning to you listeners.
Now, Mayor, normally we have you on to talk about things like, speed limits or planning decisions or dangerous trees, but your council has found itself in the weird position of being a bit of a flashpoint for regional geopolitical tensions on account of the location of the Chinese consulate there on 5th Avenue in Joslin. The council must feel a bit like the meat and the sandwich on this.
Oh, look, absolutely, David. And I think it's important that your listeners understand the council's position in this, in that we were not the planning authority to approve the Chinese consulate. Some of the residents may know that, but for others who don't, the Development Regulations 2008 were changed in September 2016, if my memory serves me correct, so that diplomatic missions would no longer require planning approval, planning consent, and that they would fall under the remit or the jurisdiction of the State Coordinator General. So the council was not the planning authority. But as you would expect, in the normal course of events, when residents have issues related to planning, they would turn to their local authority, in this case the council, but unfortunately our hands have been tied. Now, I appreciate that some residents may think that the council is buck passing, but the reality is we just had no say in this.
What level of feedback have you had from the community about it?
Well, I personally haven't had feedback from residents. I know the council has received some letters.
That's what I mean, the council, not you personally, but the council.
Well, clearly the council has received some letters. The ward councillors have received feedback, and in response to that, the March meeting, the council actually resolved to write a letter to James Stevens, the federal member for Stir, asking him to relay the council's concerns to Maurice Payne, the Minister for Foreign Affairs. So that is where we've taken up our issues. I did meet with the Consul General actually on the 19th of March and expressed to her the issues that the residents are concerned about, namely that a Chinese consulate in the suburbs in Adelaide is a departure from previous diplomatic missions that we've had, namely the Italian consul, which was on Paynham Road and is now on Port Road, and the Greek Consulate General, which is in the city. So that you have a pretty big footprint in the burbs with 3-metre high walls, understandably created a sense of anxiety and concern. I mentioned the concerns of the residents with regard to the drones and the cameras, and I'll continue to raise concerns with the Consulate General when and where appropriate.
Did you make any resolutions at Council Mayor with regard to 40k/h speed limits in Northern Kent Town?
Well, what we resolved, Will, was to put the issue out to consultation. The Council considered a recommendation from the Council's Traffic Management and Road Safety Committee, which looked at the possibility of introducing a 40k limit in the residential streets of the Parade in Kent Town, and that followed extensive investigations and traffic speed data. And so the process last night was really just to go out to consultation. It wasn't to implement, because ultimately the Minister will have the final say on whether he will allow 40k's in those two particular suburbs.
I have to say, it's 40k's where I live, and I don't think it's an issue. I actually think it makes sense, because you get the odd hoon coming down the suburban back streets, and I always think, well, what's going through these people's heads?
Yeah,
40 seems like the right speed.
I
for
live
back
on a
streets.
40k street.
Yeah,
but I reckon the proportion of people that actually observe it would be below 50%. But it doesn't. It's not an inconvenience when you live in the area, for sure.
Yeah,
Mayor, appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Cheers, Mayor.
That's the Mayor of the Nord Paynham and St Peters area, Robert Breer.
The thing about 40 zones is it's not a revenue-raising thing, because there's not like there's speed cameras on suburban back streets. It's just a common sense type thing. You don't need to go above 40 if you're going down a back street.
No, and they do a reasonable job of preventing people trying to sort of rat run.
Yeah.
And then dart around a main road with more cars on it and go the same speed.
Yeah, so, that's right.
Yeah, I understand the impetus behind it. 23 minutes after 7, last night on the sports show with Stephen Rowe, Jake Kelly was on, and Rowie and Warren Tredray interviewed him, asked him some interesting questions about his recent concussion, that incident with Patrick Dangerfield. Used vehicle stock, always changing at North Point, Toda, Hillcrest, Prospect and Port Augusta. It is the North Point way. Here is Jake Kelly.
The Dangerfield one, it's probably difficult from a player, but get 3 weeks, it's probably justified, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I said earlier today that I think that the AFL is doing a great job in introducing these new protocols. I think the AFL have really got to get on the front foot with this concussion, and and I think they're doing that, and that's really great. So I think they're going about it the right way, and I think the 3 weeks that Pat got was fair.
It was an accidental head clash, Jake. I mean, Rampy and McIntosh had a collision. Did you see that one on the weekend?
Yeah, well, you and I have a different opinion on that then, Roy.
Well, the game, I think, has got to cater for accidents. It's a collision sport.
Yeah, like I said, mate, I reckon you and I have got different opinions on it. But, yeah, Geelong obviously had a different opinion as well, and I completely understand that the sport is a contact sport, and I get that. But, yeah, I think the AFL is going to be really strong on this. Not talking about me individually, but for everyone. I think, yeah, they've got to take a really strong stance with it, and I think they are doing that.
But the rule's been written.
No, but I respect that. Well done to Jake.
No, absolutely.
I absolutely
he
respect
just went
that.
whack on you.
No, but that's good. No, I do.
Yeah, this is 3 years ago. That collision is okay in the rules. Now it's not in the rules. Then they've got to do what
so
they
they're
do.
doing the right thing, and I got to get to the program. Jake, well done. Strong.
That was great for Jake Kelly, and I tell you, it heralds a new era of how AFL players talk about these sorts of things. Go on to the days of, oh, no, he's a good bloke and he didn't mean it. Because you know why? Jake Kelly, in that interview, talked about the fact that he can't remember anything after making the hand pass in that play.
Yeah.
In the days after it, he couldn't remember coming off the field. He couldn't remember meeting and chatting with people that spoke to him in the locker room after the game. Jake Kelly is like every other player in the AFL now that's read all the same stories we all have about concussions and the horror stories overseas and look, frankly, here in our country as well.
Yeah.
They're educated to it. They're wise to it. Oh, that was absolutely sensational. It's not easy to do, to be one of the first guys that comes out and says, yeah, you know what, the 3 weeks is totally justified.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought it was good too that he and Rowie, I mean, you could actually hear, not tension, but you could hear there was a little bit of a frisson there when he said, well, yeah, we've got different opinions on this. And I love that he stuck to his guns.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Rowie did too.
Yeah,
as
absolutely.
Trevor's picked up on it. But, like, you know, we're not all here to agree with each other about everything. And I think, too, to your point, Will, about footballers, you know, the astuteness of Jake and just saying, well, all right, this is what I think.
Yeah.
And prosecuting the case as forcefully as he did. I thought it was terrific.
And there's a bit of a tone there, and I wonder if this is with the new way in which they'll all start talking about it, and hopefully they'll largely, or as much as can be done, remove concussions from the game. But, geez, there are a lot of strong opinions from those of us that watch.
Oh, for sure.
Aren't there?
Yeah. Oh,
and then there's a guy like Jake, and there's been other players, Scott Stevens and others at the Adelaide Football Club, who have one day found themselves driving down West Lakes Boulevard and they can't remember how they got there.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're the ones that ultimately, when everyone calls in and says, oh, it's an accidental head clash. Well, yeah, but Jake's brain's the one that got scrambled.
Totally.
I think player safety, the fact they're buying into it, I think actually that was a landmark moment for the AFL, having a player speak up like that, speak back to that old school view that, oh, well, these things happen.
Stuff happens, exactly.
The Sports Show with Stephen Rowe, always great listening. Used vehicle stock, always changing at North Point, to Hillcrest, Prospect and Port Augusta. It is the North Point way.
I'm just popping out.
Where to?
Nowhere, just out for a drive. Are you going somewhere?
Me? No. No.
Oh. Well, you look a bit nice, that's all.
No. Just going up to the shops to get some stuff. Oh, all right. I'm going to Jarvis Toyota for another test drive.
Okay, so am I. I'll give you a lift.
Thank you.
You know, I really like Jarvis Toyota.
Jarvis Toyota. Come for a test drive, take home the feeling. South Road, Clovelly Park.
Hi, I'm Will Chapman from Goldsborough Financial Services. If you've been let down by your investment fund or superannuation and its advisors, put your financial future in the hands of an advisor who wants you to get a better outcome. Our clients have been recommending Goldsborough for 25 years. You can rely on our team of trusted professionals to put your interests first. We take the time to get to know our clients and their families because we believe that great futures are built on strong, lasting relationships. Goldsborough, for all your tomorrows. Goldsborough Financial Services, AFSL number 225330.
Hi, I'm Izzy, and my family runs St. Louis Home Care, which was started by my great-grandma over 70 years ago.
Izzy, your great-grandma would be so proud, with St. Louis now being one of South Australia's leading providers of home care. From check visits to shopping, meal and medication support, St. Louis have it covered. And then there's the gardening, home maintenance and personal care.
Don't forget the social activities. Google St. Louis Home Care to find out how my family can help take care of yours.
So, you've got a will. But, is your estate plan in place? What if you lose capacity to manage your financial affairs? Or to make medical or health decisions? What happens then? Who gets your superannuation? Who controls the family trust? From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, Donlan Lawyers can answer your questions and help carry out your wishes. Wills and estate planning? Visit donlanlawyers.com. That's donlanlawyers.com.
Two of Us, the songs of Lennon and McCartney. Celebrated by two of Australia's most applauded performers, Damien Leith and Darren Coggan. Relive the songs the whole world sang along with. Norwood Concert Hall, Friday, April 23, and the Barossa Arts Centre, Saturday, April 24. Tickets on sale now through bass.net.au.
You possibly won't find Australia's largest range of rollers, spare parts and accessories for sliding doors and windows at your local hardware store. I mean, I guess you could try, but nah. Instead of wasting time, how about you save time? Visit rollerco.com.au because spare parts for sliding doors and windows is what we do. Our warehouse is full of them. rollerco.com.au. We'll get you rolling.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Right on 7:30, it's a good time to jump on the 5AA Facebook and YouTube live stream too, because Sean Fuster will join us live in the 5AA Breakfast studio in just a moment as we go around the courts. A couple of texts coming in on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line. In the meantime, Vince says, great interview with the New Zealand Prime Minister. Refreshing to hear a politician answer questions and not engage in the lies and spin we're served up by our lot. We'll let you be the judge and replay that chat after 8 o'clock today. We spoke with her earlier about the travel bubble between Australia and New Zealand, and we'll replay it. Jacinda Ardern on 5AA Breakfast after 8 o'clock today. David from Para Hills says, frustrated with Rowie saying it's an accidental head clash. Yes, that was an accidental result, but Dangerfield intentionally chose to clash bodies rather than tackle. That's why. Thank you, David, and that's certainly how the AFL Tribunal saw it. 5AA News, Sean Fuster in a moment.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Sunny and 28 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
FIVEaa Extra is a registered NDIS provider, so let them support you in achieving your goals. FIVEaAextra.com.
Wanted man Billy Hayes has been arrested by Star Group officers at Glandore. He'd been on the run for several days after cutting off his home detention bracelet. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad says he'll front court today.
It was a breach of intensive supervision order. He was also wanted on an assault warrant.
A Queensland man has been airlifted to the RA after his car slammed into a tree in the state's mid-north. It happened at Ninnis around 8:30 last night. The 43-year-old has sustained serious injuries. There's been a supermarket fire at Glenelg South. The blaze broke out around 7:30 on the Broadway. Nicole Ely from the MFS says damage is estimated at $200,000.
MFS firefighters found a well-involved fire at the rear of a small supermarket in a row of shops that was spreading into the roof space of the supermarket. The quick work of MFS firefighters saved all neighbouring shops and 50 to 60% of the small supermarket.
It's a foggy morning on the freeway. Visibility is down to 50 metres at Murray Bridge and several spots as you head toward Adelaide. Motorists are asked to drive to the conditions. Other island nations may soon be added to the Trans-Tasman travel bubble. Aussies and Kiwis will be allowed to travel back and forth without having to quarantine from April 19. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has told 5AA Breakfast she hopes to extend it to other countries in the South Pacific.
We've prioritised the Cook Islands and Niue. That's because of our relationship with those islands and those communities. We're aiming to get that two-way arrangement up and running in May. I know Fiji is keen. We haven't got any formal plans there yet.
Europe's medicine regulator says it's still investigating if there's a confirmed link between the AstraZeneca COVID vaccine and rare blood clots. 30 cases of blood clot events have been identified in the UK out of 18 million doses. One case is being investigated in Melbourne. A high-tech mouthguard which can monitor head knocks is set to be rolled out to all grades of footy. Nine's Gail Watson is in Melbourne.
The mouthguard is moulded to fit a player's teeth and has a sensor chip inside. The chip logs head knocks. The technology was trialled by the AFL in 2019. About 400 AFL players already wear the chip system. News Corp reports the mouthguards will be offered league-wide by the end of this year and available for all grades, including juniors, by 2023. The custom-made mouthguard costs up to $500, but the paper says the AFL is set to discuss with the developer ways to make it more affordable for grassroots levels.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers. Flurio Milk Company. In your supermarket now.
What's happening at Alberton, Tom Wren?
Well, Port Adelaide midfielder Connor Rosie, Mel, he says the team is keen to atone for its heavy defeat at the hands of West Coast last weekend. The Power faced Richmond on Friday night at home, and Rosie says he's feeling good after his first game back from minor foot surgery.
Yeah, got through fine. The foot pulled up pretty well, so should be good to go again for Friday night.
But Crows defender Daniel Talia is expected to spend an extended period on the sidelines as he recovers from foot surgery of his own. The 29-year-old could miss up to 10 weeks. To golf, Australia's 5 contenders at the Masters have completed their practice rounds ahead of tomorrow night's opener at the Major. Jason Day says his back troubles are behind him and he's hopeful of a maiden title at Augusta.
My body feels tremendous. I've always said that I'd get to 40 and reevaluate things. I feel with the way my body's going, I feel like I can play to 50 now, which is great, and I just got to stay mentally sharp and try and want it more than anyone else.
He's sounding good. A draw with Queensland was enough to book New South Wales a spot in the Sheffield Shield Grand Final on the final day of the regular season. The Blues will take on the Bulls again in next week's decider. Meantime, South Australia has played its final Shield match of the season. It finished in a draw against Victoria. And in some soccer to finish, Liverpool has it all to do if it wants to make it through to the semi-finals of the European Champions League. The Reds suffering a 3-1 loss in the first leg to Real Madrid in their quarter-final. But better news for Manchester City as they beat Borussia Dortmund 2-1. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Dave Potter, Australia's #1 Honda dealer, 2nd year running. DavePotterHonda.com.au.
Slow going through McGill at St Bernard's Road near Reed Avenue. There's reports of a praying through here. In Shadow Park, an earlier collision causing delays on the Southern Expressway near Young Street. And slow going through Campbelltown at Lower North East Road around Glenburn and Paynham Road intersections. A 2-car collision here causing delays for citybound, so allow some extra time. With half off select flights, plan your full-on holiday at australia.com or book with your airline or travel agent before they sell out. Terms and conditions apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi Solitaire, Metro Dealer of the Year. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
28 today and sunny, 31 tomorrow. Right now it's 13 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
"23 minutes to 8. John Blake coming up before 8. Then after 8, we'll replay our interview with New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern. Also, Tom Duday from the Adelaide Football Club will join us on 5AA Breakfast. But first, we go round the courts with the host of the Just Legal program on 5AA on Sunday nights, Advertiser's Chief Court Reporter, the best in the business, Sean Fewster. Morning to you, Sean.
Good morning. Just lawful.
Lawful.
Not just legal.
Oh, my
just
God.
lawful.
Just
Considering
lawful.
what we're about to talk about, I can understand why
Yeah.
the mixture got in there. But also, today's other big question, Grover.
Yeah.
Grover is clearly the best Sesame Street Muppet, followed by Reporter Kermit. Super Grover is even better than both.
I'm an Oscar the Grouch guy.
You would have got the tickets.
Really? You're an Oscar
I
the
love
Grouch
Oscar the
guy.
Grouch.
I'll take things that don't surprise me for 500, please, Will.
Oh,
Wow.
trash. What a tune. What a tune. And look, Sean, you can enter tomorrow. You don't even need to be right. You can win the ticket.
Yeah, that's right. As long as you name a character.
Hey, look, Super Grover
anything.
is always the best.
A
Like,
character
Super
from
Grover.
Exactly right.
how embarrassing.
Now, Sean, this article that broke last week in the Advertiser, a pretty seismic story involving a political staffer by the name of Ben Waters and another man who, as yet, has not been identified, who works in corrections, involving just the sick stuff involving kids that repulses every normal, decent person. This sounds like it's going to go in potentially sinister directions, all this, doesn't it?
It's already fairly sinister, and unfortunately it's only going to get worse. This was a story that the Advertiser's top investigative reporter Nigel Hunt and I worked on together. Nigel was the one who broke the news that Waters, who was a member of the Labor Party and was a staffer for Nat Cook, was caught, allegedly, with reams and reams of child exploitation material, and that material had been being swapped backwards and forwards with the correctional services officer, senior correctional services officer, who we can't name. Then later in the day, I was able to find out that the reason both of those men were arrested is because of their alleged ties to Jad William Brooker. And if that name sounds familiar to listeners, it's because last year we exclusively revealed that he was the HIV-positive pedophile who said that his goal was to infect children and adults with the virus. He's already pleaded guilty to some of the so far 77 charges that have been filed against him. You may remember he snuck that plea in under the wire before they got rid of the 40% discount.
So this maggot is potentially going to get a discount for that, is he?
He's definitely going to get a discount for that, but the good news is he's back in court today, and from my reading of the case files, it looks like that there are more charges to be laid today, so you'll need to stay tuned for that as the day rolls on.
Okay, so can we talk about the link between these two people? They've obviously come about in the course of the same investigation, so what was the link?
So the allegation is that Brooker has in excess of millions upon millions of files on his computers. And as of October last year, police had made their way through 30% of those files and already found 10,000 images of child exploitation, 7,000 of which were not pre-existing on the internet, which means that he or someone else has made them. They are unique images, which means we have living, breathing, Australian-based victims.
We just got to take these mongrels out of circulation, don't we?
Well, Brooker is well and truly out of circulation for now. Let's put it this way.
For
with the
now,
charges,
there should be no for now. There should be the number of cases I've read where people were going through a bout of depression or they just stumbled upon it. Like, no one stumbles upon this stuff.
I remember.
You know the difference between some routine porn involving a grown woman and this.
I remember one guy years ago who tried to claim in court that he was looking for photos of Angelina Jolie and tripped upon child exploitation material, and he just had a genital operation, so had a lot of time on his hands, Your Honour. And the judge just looked at the lawyer and said, I really think you should rethink that submission.
Got too much time on his hands. Gee. So the only time that these people should have on their hands should be inside a prison cell, short of doing what a lot of people would like to do, which is actually executing them.
And what's really bizarre about this one is that you've got this correctional services officer who we can't name. Now, of course, last year, the Tiser managed to get the laws changed so that we can name people that have been charged with alleged child sex offending from the moment that they first appear in court. This person decided to appeal and ask for a suppression order. We stood up, we fought it, we said, Parliament's made it clear you don't get identity protections anymore. After the magistrate ruled in favour of the police and the Advertiser, the police saying we want his name out there because there are 400 victims on this man's hard drive. This is the correctional services officer. 400 victims that we can't identify. So we want his name out there so that people can come forward and say, geez, that's probably me or my family or whomever. So they lost their suppression order application. This guy has decided he's going to appeal it to the Supreme Court, which means that as a result, his name stays in limbo. It's not suppressed, but nor can it be reported because technically his first court appearance hasn't finished yet. We're still waiting for his lawyers to file the paperwork for that appeal. The Supreme Court's still waiting. So everything's in limbo, and this guy's getting a suppression order, effectively, by virtue of it taking time, taking the Easter weekend, to sort all this out.
So, are all these people known to each other?
Yeah.
100%. Okay, so it's not like there was some sort of central distribution platform that they happen to...
Well, there may be some central distribution platform as well. All of that is still developing, and we'll probably hear more about that today as Brooker goes through court. The allegation that's been made previously in Brooker's hearings is that Brooker is the centre of a network and can be connected to 40 other alleged pedophiles around Australia and around the world, with victims in Italy, victims in Canada, and victims all around this country.
So does he get offered any sort of a deal for cooperation?
That's a really good question, and one that you'd have to direct to the AFP, because this is a joint SAPOL AFP bust.
Right.
Those are the sorts of considerations and decisions they'll have to make. I know that there's a lot of times in cases like this you have someone quickly saying, my client is cooperating fully with the authorities, Your Honour. The only discounts that can be offered, of course, are the sentencing discounts if you plead guilty by a particular time. What's noteworthy with Walters is that his lawyer got up and said, Your Honour, we're not applying for bail. We're not asking for anything. Could you please get a home detention report so that we can at least consider the question of home detention? And by the way, please bring it back within 4 weeks. Now, within 4 weeks means you get your 25% discount. So that would tend to suggest that they're already looking at, is there any way of resolving this by way of plea?
Extraordinary, isn't it?
Very much kick the rock over and shine the light on it, and everyone just puts their hands up.
I just, for the life of me, I cannot, and every bloke I know that I speak to about it, who's got kids, and you don't need kids to feel this way, but I think you feel differently when you've got them.
Yeah.
Like you just feel like you would throw up if you ever saw anything like that.
It is absolutely.
But how does it become such a scourge? I feel like I cannot understand it. Why there's every day you open the paper and there's another one of these people.
I'm going to tell you this. It's always been a scourge. It's never not been a scourge. It's just that we can now catch it, we can now expose it, and we can now talk about it. I mean, think about Section 71A. How long in South Australia was debate about this issue strangled? And then you get stuff overseas, like we all know the QAnon nonsense and things that's happened overseas. Those sorts of rumours and gossip and conspiracy theories are fed by restriction and fed by silence. You know, if the allegations are true in this Brooker matter, this sounds very much like a QAnon-style thing, a massive network of people that were all connected and da-da-da. But they're not people in corridors of power controlling the public discourse. They're ordinary, disgusting people. In Brooker's case, he's pleaded guilty, we can say that. Exposure means that we hear more about it because it's always been there, and it means that we're talking about it in the accurate way that it happens.
But the internet's changed it.
Oh, absolutely.
That's
Made it
the
easier,
thing,
facilitated it.
You know, just the utter, recesses of human depravity.
Greenland. Most of the servers for this are in Greenland.
Yeah. Well,
is there any reason for that?
Extradition laws, lack thereof, all sorts of things.
Right.
Apparently, the majority of it goes in and out of Greenland, which is why you've got places like Canada and northern parts of the United States that have the big servers that sift all this as it comes through and check it.
How much
Canada's doing amazing work.
That's a business then, isn't it?
Yeah,
How much premeditation
absolutely
goes in? I'm going to
business.
go, I'll check up the laws and I'll establish... It's worth reflecting. You made a good point before. 18 months ago, we don't talk about this in this segment, do we?
That's right. We couldn't.
Right.
We absolutely couldn't.
There's no mention of this, and people just are none the wiser.
And that benefits these people.
Yes.
That benefits these abusers because they're not pornographers. They're abusers. It benefits these exploitators because they can get away with it under the radar because we are restricted as a society from saying, look at these guys. Aren't they disgusting?
Yeah.
It's great insight as
Powerful
always.
stuff, Sean.
It's why Just Lawful is such a great show.
Hey!
Yeah, there we go. I got it right eventually. Check
Good on
it
you,
out
Sean.
Sunday nights on 5AA as well, and as always, read Sean in the Advertiser.
Thank you, mate.
Thanks, guys.
I'm being rightly upbraided by a few listeners with my sweeping suggestion that I've never seen a camera in a 40 zone on the back streets. John in Brompton says there's always cameras on Chief Street in Brompton, and Rob says try Angus Road, Hawthorn. There's a speed camera there at least once a week. Although I'd say Angus Road, Hawthorn, that's your classic example, to your point, Will, of a rat running street, because it's a 40 zone.
Yeah, that's right.
But people use that to dart between Goodwood Road and Unley Road, so maybe that one's understandable. But, yeah, certainly irritating if you're a resident and you're accidentally doing 44.
Oh, I can only imagine. Good on you, Sean.
Thanks,
Cheers, Sean. 13 minutes to wait. Let's check traffic. Thanks to Dave Potter, Australia's #1 Honda dealer, second year running. DavePotterHonda.com.au.
Still slowing through Campbelltown around Lower North East Road and Glenburn-Paynham Road intersections. That's due to a two-car collision causing delays for citybound at McGill at St Bernard's Road near Reed Avenue. There's reports of an incident here as well. In Crayford on the freeway up track near the tunnels, a broken down car causing slowing conditions. The Amazon.com.au autumn sale is live now with great deals. Plus, new customers get free delivery on your first eligible order. T's and C's apply. Shop Amazon.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Well, right now we're joined by Joe, who's going to talk about all things Arbor Vitae. With its antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties, it is proving very popular. Isn't that right, Joe?
That's right, Lee. More and more people are experiencing the benefits of using Arbor Vitae, and it's just wonderful.
Can you talk us through what are the benefits that people are experiencing when they use Arbor Vitae?
Well, it does somewhat depend on which Arbor Vitae bottle is right for you. There's Arbor Vitae Health and Wellbeing Supplement, which may help maintain healthy blood glucose and cholesterol levels and support heart and cardiovascular health. And Arbor Vitae Joint Health, which may provide relief from the symptoms of mild arthritis. So we're talking joint pain, inflammation, soreness, stiffness, and mobility.
Hey Joe, now it's winter. Arbor Vitae may help to improve your immune function?
Yes, you're right, Lee. Your immune system is important to help fight colds and flu, and Arbor Vitae supports the health and function of your immune system.
Thanks so much for that, Joe. There you have it. Lots of benefits to using Arbor Vitae. You can find Arbor Vitae in chemists and health food stores all over Adelaide. Go to arborvitae.com.au for a full list of their stockists, or you can buy it online direct, or give the Arbor Vitae team a call on 1300 879 863. And remember, always follow the directions for use. This medicine may not be right for you. Read the label before purchase. If symptoms persist, talk to your health professional.
We've all been on the road trip from hell. Car breaks down, map says go this way, but you went that way, and countless are we there yet? The same can be said for home renos. Nobody wants a nightmare on their way to a stunning new kitchen or bathroom. So if you want everything to go according to plan, go with Buy Urban. They've always believed the journey is just as important as the destination. Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, Adelaide's home renovation experts. Visit buyurban.com.au.
Building amazing homes is important to Beechwood Homes, and so is the environment. So when you build with Beechwood, you're building a better environment for our kids and grandkids. Around 70% of scrap materials from every Beechwood home is recycled. Bricks, rubble, timber, gyprock and steel, none of it goes to landfill. It's all sorted and recycled. So life really is good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. Take a look at the stunning Beechwood display home in Blackwood Park.
Know what's kick-ass? Getting out there and exploring the great outdoors. And the right gear can make it really kick-ass. For quality four-wheel drive and camping gear, use kick-ass products. Available only at australiandirect.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Keep on running. At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
9 minutes to 8. John Blake in just a moment. But first, let's talk about the weather. Amelia Mulcahy from 7 News joins us. Morning to you, Amelia. You there, Amelia? No, she's...
Amelia. I think we've lost Amelia. Well, it's sad because it's going to be good news about the weather too. And we're going for a maximum of 28. Not
Amelia's
a cloud
one
in the
word
sky.
is good news on the weather too. No one delivers it better.
Tomorrow 31, Friday 24. Looking cool for the weekend though. Only 21 both days, both Saturday and Sunday. Yeah,
Weather Dave.
Oh yeah. I don't think I'm going to put Amelia out of a job. Don't ask me anything that involves anything other than reading numbers out aloud off the bomb app, Will, because that's all I'm doing at the moment.
Are you there now, Amelia?
How bizarre.
No, we just got...
Good morning.
Oh, hang on. Hey, here we go.
Hi.
You're online.
Hello.
Amelia. Did you hear David auditioning for your job just then?
We're the Daves. Got a nice ring to it.
We're the Dave.
I don't think it's going to...
I'll let you know when I've got holidays next, Weather Dave.
All right, yes.
Maybe we can have a regular segment on 7 News with Weather Dave. You know, just some gardening tips.
I don't work
Don't
well in a visual medium.
Well, you can just give me some keywords and I'll just have a nice picture of you up on screen or something.
That'd be good. He really wants a cooking
the
segment,
white
I think,
suit,
Amelia. That's what he wants.
know.
Dave's dish of the week.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
That would be good.
How to accompany a 24-degree day? What's the ideal dish?
Ceviche.
See? I knew it. You're never in doubt. Ceviche.
Okay, what about today? Sunny and 28 degrees. What do we go with for
Well,
that?
it just feels like barbecue weather at the moment because you want to be outside just enjoying it.
I think this segment has legs.
Put on your Hawaiian shirt and your thongs, open a tinny, stand out the back with some snags. Be great.
And then tomorrow, 31 degrees, cloud building, but we've got, a southerly change on the way. So 31 degrees tomorrow. What would you go with for that?
31. or seafood, hotting up. So, nice, some oysters. Oysters are good at this time of year.
Delicious.
Some cold prawns.
Maybe a
bit of Thousand
nice
Island
glass
dressing.
of white wine.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Nice crisp
Beautiful.
Riesling.
You allow this to bed in for a couple of years and you won't need to put up 31 on the weather. It will just be a cold prawn.
It'll be a dish.
And people will understand.
Picture of a dish.
Yeah, they'll just change the icon.
That's right.
Have you seen tomorrow? It's paella.
Well, we've got... And then eventually it'll get to a point where we just need to say the kinds of food and people will be across it.
So when can we expect some more beef bourguignon type weather? Because it looks like the weekend's more of a
over the
beef
weekend.
casserole.
I knew what you were going to go with there.
Yeah.
The weekend.
Yeah.
The weekend. So we do have a cool trip. Well, I'll get back to a bit more sensible sort of stuff. 28 degrees today, 31 tomorrow, but we do have a cool southerly change on the way. So just 24 degrees Friday. If you're heading to the footy, it might feel a bit more like that traditional footy weather. I know Crows fans definitely weren't greeted with that over the weekend. Much warmer for them. But more like traditional footy weather Friday night. Cooler southerly winds will be around. That'll bump up the chill factor a little. So, that real sort of beef weather, maybe put something in the Le Creuset, put it in the oven for a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
See how you go.
Get the old crock pot out.
And then much cooler over the weekend, 21 degrees Saturday and Sunday. Grey at times as well, so you can't rule out a shower. If you're heading to the Oval to see the Crows women play in the prelim, well, maybe just pack the brolly. You might see one around town. I wouldn't rule it out. So warm now. Get your whites on the line today. Today's probably more like our last day of sunshine before much cooler conditions over the weekend. So, but we've at least we've got a week of food planned as well.
Yeah, exactly.
You're a total pro, Amelia. You just managed to merge a weather segment and a food segment with no warning, like you do it every single day. That was tremendous work.
I'm all for the food segment.
Yeah,
I like it.
I'm going to forward you my notes beforehand, Pembo, just so we can really come up with a dish of the day.
I think it works.
Is there a musical sting we can get for that?
Don't get him started.
Maybe.
You realise.
We'll workshop this off air.
Let's do it. Amelia Mulcahy from 7 News. It's that time of the morning. We hand it over to John Blake, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight, distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
Mummy, can we play I Spy? No, I don't want to play I Spy. Anyway, I'm driving, so I have to concentrate. Oh, that's not fair. No. Then why don't you both have a sleep, and when we get home, I'll make you some ice cream, all right? But I'm not tired. No, neither am I. Well, what will make you sleepy? A story. Yeah, a story. Oh, okay. Which story? Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, Alice in Wonderland. Oh, all right. Alice in Wonderland. Where's my book? Here we go. Right. Alice was beginning to get very tired of sitting by her sister on the bank and of having nothing to do, so she was considering in her own mind, as well as she could, for the hot day made her feel sleepy and stupid. That's you're stupid. I am not, you are. Hey, settle down, kids. Mummy's driving. But you're reading a book, Mummy. Well, that's okay. I've got it right in front of me on the steering wheel. Always remember, mummies can multitask. What does that mean? It means mummies can do two things at the same time. Oh, you're clever. Yeah. Oh, God. Oh. What happened, Mummy? Nothing. It's all right. Suddenly, a white rabbit with pink eyes ran past Alice. Wow. And disappeared down a rabbit hole. Alice ran after it, never once considering how in the world she was going to get out again. Oh, watch where you're going! Oh, gosh. Some drivers, how they ever got their licence. What's wrong, Mummy? Oh, I can't find where I was up to. The rabbit went down the hole and Alice went down the hole too. Yeah. Yes, it's all right. Here we are. Mummy, there's a car driving next to us. Alice was falling down and down the rabbit hole. The person in the car is filming you on their phone. Oh, that's all right. But they might show it to a TV station. Oh, that won't matter. I'm not breaking the speed limit. Well, why aren't they filming you? I'm not sure. Maybe they've never read Alice in Wonderland and they're trying to read over my shoulder. Very rude. Are you sure, Mummy? Alice found a little bottle with a note attached that said, "Drink me." So she drank it all up and then she started to shrink. Mummy, are you sure you didn't take something before we came out driving? Yeah. on through the looking glass. Oh, bloody kids.
What if the police ever caught up with the person that they were looking for that was driving a book, or reading a book whilst driving?
I got to say, just excellent seeing anybody reading these days. Reading is imperiled. Not enough people read old hard copy books, but there's a time and a place for everything.
Yeah.
Not when you're driving.
Don't squeeze it in whilst you're behind the wheel.
Yeah, that's right. You know, just heading up to Port Augusta, might take something long by Dostoevsky with me, you know.
Get you through.
Yeah, that's right.
I fall asleep.
Yeah, exactly.
Minute to 8.
Living with osteoarthritis means living with pain, but SportsMed is changing that thanks to the revolutionary GLAD program. Here's SportsMed's Dr. Greg Keane with more.
GLAD is a 6-week exercise program performed in groups, and it continues to produce remarkable results for patients, even a year after completing the course. If you are struggling with the pain of osteoarthritis, visit SportsMed. Let's beat this.
SportsMed.
Start living life again, even with arthritis.
Sportsmed.com.au.
At Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, we believe that what you want is pretty straightforward. A service department that offers factory-trained mechanics, next-day servicing, complimentary pickup and delivery, wash and vacuum is standard, brake, wheel alignment and shock absorber testing included, complimentary loan cars, breakfast or lunch is on us, and access Wi-Fi while you're waiting. Go online to book your service today and experience the difference. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city.
Hi there, I'm Matt, a Specsavers optometrist. Did you know that every Specsavers is locally owned and operated by an optometrist just like me? We believe eye tests should reveal more, not cost more, which is why we include an OCT advanced 3D eye scan with every eye test at no extra charge. Does your optometrist? Experience the Specsavers difference and book your eye test today. We're here to look after your eye health and keep you safe in store. Visit specsavers.com.au.
You might think having thousands of pals is excessive, but that's not what the team at Parafield Airport Liquor Store think, because that's how many they have. Sure, they might be made up of over 100 gins, over 200 whiskies, over 300 craft beers, and over 2,000 boutique wines. But they're some of the best pals you could have, and they're always looking for more, even if they are tricky to track down. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Sunny and 28 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
Wanted man Billy Hayes is back in custody. A warrant was issued for the 28-year-old several days ago after he cut off his home detention bracelet. Star Group officers arrested him without incident at Glandore last night. He'll front court today. A man's in hospital after a crash in the state's mid-north. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad says it happened at Ninnis last night.
A Holden sedan had left the road and crashed into a tree. Now, the driver and sole occupant of that car, a 43-year-old Queensland man, sustained serious injuries in the crash and he was airlifted to the Royal Adelaide Hospital for treatment.
A vigil was held for Anne-Marie Smith last night on the steps of Parliament House. More than 150 people marked a year since the death of the disability neglect victim. 15 names were read out. They were South Australians who've died following neglect, abuse and violence over the past 2 decades. The opening of the Trans-Tasman travel bubble is expected to spark a rush with people dusting off their passports. More than 100,000 travellers a week are expected to fly between Australia and New Zealand once quarantine-free travel starts on the 19th of April. But New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has told 5AA Breakfast people should be prepared for last-minute changes.
What we've all learned is no two situations are the same, really. Queensland's recent experience, they went into that 3-day short sharp lockdown. That'd be an example where we may, for instance, pause flights for 3 days in response to that. Essentially we'll treat Australia just like an extra region to New Zealand, albeit a very large one.
A new tool has been launched to help us make healthier diet choices. Nine's Lauren Howarth has the details.
Nearly 4 out of 5 Australians are overindulging in low-nutrient, high-kilojoule food every day. This year's CSIRO has found we're most likely to turn to alcohol first, followed by cakes and other sweets. To try and help us improve our food choices, the agency has created a free junk food analyzer quiz. It offers multiple options to reduce the intake of junk food without eliminating all of our favourite foods.
12 crew members have been rescued from a Dutch cargo ship which is now at risk of capsizing and causing an oil spill off the coast of Norway. Nine's Ben Avery has more.
A distress call was sent out when the 111-metre Eameslift Henrika lost power in its main engine around 130 kilometres off the coast of Norway. Vision has been released showing Norwegian rescuers airlifting 8 crew members from the ship's deck and 4 others who had jumped into the monstrous seas. All 12 were flown to safety, but the boat was then left tossing and turning in 10-metre waves. The main concern is that the 400 tonnes of heavy oil and diesel on board will spill into the sea, or that the boat will run aground on Norway's coastline. The same company involved with refloating the Ever Given in the Suez Canal last week is reportedly assisting a salvage mission.
Kim Kardashian is now officially a billionaire. The reality TV star is one of 493 newcomers on the annual billionaires list put out by Forbes. Amazon founder Jeff Bezos remains in top spot with a personal fortune worth $177 billion. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Who loves South Australia as much as you do? Fluorio Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
And it's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Adelaide has copped a major blow with key defender Daniel Talia set to be sidelined for up to 10 weeks with foot surgery. Meantime, Essendon midfielder Dylan Shiel is set to miss around 4 months after having surgery to repair a knee injury. To soccer, and the Central Coast Mariners have pulled in a late equaliser to share the points with Western Sydney in a dramatic 2-2 draw in their A-League clash overnight. Meantime, in European Champions League action, Manchester City's grabbed a late winner to claim a crucial 2-1 win. That was in the first leg of their quarter-final tie against Borussia Dortmund.
This has come a good one. There's Foden! They did get the chance and Foden has taken his now.
Audio thanks to Optus. The news, however, not so good for fellow English club Liverpool, suffering a 3-1 away loss to Real Madrid. Let's go to golf, and defending US Masters champion Dustin Johnson will play alongside England's Lee Westwood in the first 2 rounds of this year's Masters. Reigning US Open champion Bryson DeChambeau will play alongside 2013 winner Adam Scott and American Max Homa. And the other Aussie, Jason Day, has been partnered with 2 Americans, Cameron Champ and Matthew Wolff, while Cameron Smith will play alongside Jordan Spieth and Colin Morikawa. And in some tennis news, Aussie Storm Sanders has been beaten in straight sets by number 3 seed Petra Kvitova as she moved into the round of 16 at the Charleston Open in South Carolina. Fellow Aussies Ash Barty and Isla Tomljanovic will both be in action tomorrow morning. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Dave Potter, Australia's #1 Honda dealer, 2nd year running. DavePotterHonda.com.au.
Slow going through Salisbury Downs on the Salisbury Highway near Kings Road. A car has collided with a bus stop here, causing some issues for the city run. Around Campbelltown on Lower North East Road at Glenburn Paynham Road. And earlier praying at the intersection here, causing delays still. And through Crafers on the freeway up track near the tunnels, a broken down car is slowing traffic. Still on the freeway, there are foggy conditions as you head towards Murray Bridge, so expect delays and slowing through here. When you fill up, make sure you fuel the feeling with Shell V-Power, the premium fuel designed to clean and protect your car's engine. Look for Shell V-Power the next time you fill up your car. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi Solitaire, Metro Dealer of the Year. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
Sunny 28 today, cloud increasing tomorrow 31. Right now it's 17 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
In the last hour on Adelaide's 5AA.
Release of the South Australian bushfire plan. The Emergency Services Minister is Vincent Tarzia.
Our government is dedicated to creating a more bushfire resilient state, and we agree that there's nothing more important, obviously, than protecting lives and property. And what we're asking South Australians to do is to have their say on the plan that's been put out on the state government site, yoursay.sa.gov.au.
Advertiser's Chief Court Reporter, the best in the business, Sean Fewster. Morning to you, Sean.
We have living, breathing, Australian-based victims of
We're
this
just going to
offending.
take these mongrels out of circulation, don't we?
Well, Brooker is well and
Seriously.
truly out of circulation for now. Let's put it this way.
For
with the
now,
charges
this is
he's
the thing,
already...
there should be no for now. There should be the number of cases I've read where people are going through a bout of depression or they just stumbled upon it. Like, no one stumbles upon this stuff. Tomorrow 31, Friday 24. Looking cool for the weekend though. Like
at you
Saturday and
guys.
Sunday. Yeah.
Weather Dave.
Don't ask me anything that involves anything other than reading numbers out aloud off the bomb app, Will, because that's all I'm doing.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
8 after 8, you certainly sold yourself short there. In the process, developed a brand new mode for revealing the weather, which was not just the high temperature, but the accompanying dish, which I think will revolutionise weather coverage into the future. I think Amelia Mulcahy was on board. We'll speak with Seven. Our people are talking to their people. I think something can happen.
Do we have our people, do we?
Well, I think that's what Andy does.
Yeah, that's right. Andy and Luce are our people.
Yeah, I think that's what Andy and Lucy do. 9 minutes after 8. In a few moments' time, we're going to replay our interview with New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern. We spoke with her earlier this morning regarding the opening of travel between Australia and New Zealand, quarantine-free travel being the key point there. That's coming up in just a moment. Also, Tom Duday just moments away. But first, we spoke with a series of residents bordering and in the vicinity of Alberton Oval in the last 7 days, who raised concerns about the expansion that was taking place there. And it seemed their concern was less about the Port Adelaide Football Club than it was about the fact that there would be a host of other clubs that would suddenly be occupying the space around Alberton Oval, expanding onto it. There would be a soccer pitch, the Port Adelaide Football Club, not the Australian Rules Football Club, but the soccer club was going to set up there, and a host of other junior sporting organisations. That would mean the removal of a public park in the area. It was something that the residents were unhappy about. They acknowledged that whilst they chose to live next to Port Adelaide, the Magpies and the Power, they didn't choose to live next to the other sporting clubs that would suddenly inhabit their neck of the woods. There's a petition that's up on change.org at the moment. 630 people have signed the petition saying they don't want the redevelopment of Alberton to go ahead. We've been sent some interesting pictures this morning, David, of some of the sheets of words and protest on houses adorning the area where the redevelopment will happen.
Sounds like they've really amped it up in the last 24 hours. There's signs everywhere.
There are signs all over homes. Some of them are clever. Port, don't tear us apart. That one seems to be a stock standard one. Stop the redevelopment of the Alberton Oval, reads another. Save our park has one in big red letters on a white sheet. This one's raised a few eyebrows. Hashtag Our Lives Matter.
Wonder what George Floyd's family will make of that one.
Hashtag
It seems slightly overdoing it, doesn't
Our
it?
Lives Matter. Yeah. It's a square of park that, at worst, will have some kids playing soccer on it.
Yeah. Different from, dying at the hands of a brutal police officer, I would have thought. But, tensions are running hot, I guess.
It's become a sort of cheapened refrain now, hasn't it?
Yeah,
Anything that
totally.
lives matter, isn't it? This is not the first incident of this.
No, everyone's having a go at
Everyone's
it.
lives matter. You can put anything in front of that now, which is, when you think of the origins of it,
Yeah, totally.
it's pretty tacky.
I think part of it is like this sort of middle-class yearning for action. It's like our Extinction Rebellion mates comparing themselves to the civil rights protesters in Alabama in the 1960s.
Yes.
There's a difference between gluing your ass to the road outside Santos and being, Sister Rosa Parks or Martin Luther King, isn't there? And there's a difference between Black Lives Matter and a slightly irritating sports complex in Alberton. But having said
I
that...
didn't think that needed saying, but,
apparently it does.
But I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
12 minutes after 8.
Change your sign, whoever did it.
Yeah, the rest of it's
That's
fine.
it.
They've got concerns about the part, that's fine, but
The rest of it's fine, democracy in action.
Come
But,
on.
I think there's You can lose hearts and minds with overstatement.
Yes, you can. Tom Duday from the Adelaide Football Club will join us in just a moment. But first, what we thought we'd do, we chatted with Jacinda Ardern about just before 6:30 this morning about the opening of the Australia-New Zealand travel bubble. And what this effectively means is that you can travel quarantine-free. And what it means too, though, as we learnt and you'll hear in this interview, there isn't much restriction at all at what you're required to do travelling in a post or in the midst of COVID to New Zealand and back again. Here is Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks so much for talking to us, Prime Minister. Look, we're so excited about this. Both Will and I were talking earlier about the wonderful trip we had to the South Island, separately, of course, a couple of years ago. But tell us about how this is going to work. Are there any rules that are going to apply for Aussies going to New Zealand or New Zealanders coming over here?
Yeah, just the things you'd expect, really. We want to make sure we've got your contact details when you're coming through, just in case we need to find you for any reason. And would really love it, of course, if every visitor used our COVID Tracer app to just as you are in Australia, just scanning into places you're visiting. And otherwise, that's it. The same kind of approach that you have in Australia to just washing your hands, the basics will all apply here. We try and practice good hygiene just like you do. That's about it. And just keeping an eye on any alerts or changes in case of an outbreak. But ultimately, it's a message of welcome. We want you to come and visit us. We want family and friends to be reunited, and that's what this is all about.
Anyone who's travelled in Australia, Prime Minister, over the last 18 months knows that you do so at your own risk, largely, because the COVID situation could change. That goes true, obviously, for New Zealand as well. Has there been any threshold established or protocol around how many cases would mean that the bubble would be popped?
No, because essentially, what we've all learned is that no two situations are the same, really. And so we will, apply the same approach that we have in New Zealand to outbreaks as you have in Queensland and the like. We'll essentially mirror that. So, Queensland's recent experience, they went into that 3-day short, sharp lockdown. That'd be an example where we may, for instance, pause flights for 3 days in response to that. But it will be pretty predictable. Essentially we'll treat Australia just like an extra region to New Zealand, albeit a very large one, and we'll apply the same kind of approach that you already are within your states as well. So just apply a hotspot approach and restrict travel in and out based on that.
Prime Minister, there's been some concerns here in Australia about the slowness of the vaccine rollout in Australia. How has it been tracking in New Zealand, and do you see it as something like so many Aussies do that is vital to getting it up and running so that we can get the economy bubbling along again and get things like tourism back on track?
I guess the point that I'd make is the reason that around the world, everyone is moving to roll out vaccines is so that people can get their freedoms back and their lives back. And for the most part, New Zealand and Australia have had that. So for us, the vaccine offers something quite different than what many other countries are seeking. And so that's one of the reasons, I think, for both sides of the ditch. We haven't been amongst the first to start vaccines because literally the vaccine in other parts of the world has been a life or death question, and it hasn't been for us. And so we're probably in a similar camp as you, rolling out the vaccine, but trying to do it at the same time as maintaining a strategy that means that we keep all the freedoms we've already got, but we eventually transition from our borders being our barricade and our protection to the vaccine being our individual armory so that we can open up to the rest of the world. So we're pretty similar approach you'll find over here.
Prime Minister, does the travel bubble between Australia and New Zealand necessitate now our federal government's working in concert to work on the roadmap as to which countries might open up next? Can they operate independent of one another?
Yeah, they can, but it does mean that each country still reserves the right if New Zealand makes a decision to open up to another country and Australia is a bit uncomfortable with that, they have the right to stop travel, and likewise for us. So everyone maintains their ability to make those individual decisions. Although there's nothing formal around what's required between us if we do that, we've got good relationships. Yesterday, before we made our public announcement about opening up, I gave Anastasia a quick call and I gave Gladys a quick call and just let them know that we've made this decision, and I expect that if anything crops up along the way, we'll have that kind of informal ability to be in touch with one another and talk through any issues as they come up.
Prime Minister, we know that New Zealand is a really important regional player in the South Pacific, with countries like Vanuatu and all the various states of Micronesia and Samoa and what have you. Have you had any discussions with any of your fellow leaders there about the prospect of getting other little mini travel bubbles up and running with places like Fiji and Vanuatu and so on that are much loved holiday destinations for Australians as well?
We've prioritised for us the Cook Islands and Niue. That's because of our relationship with those islands and those communities. We're aiming to get quarantine-free travel. At the moment, you can come from the Cook Islands into New Zealand quarantine-free, but New Zealanders can't go out. We're aiming to get that two-way arrangement up and running in May. And Niue, likewise, we're looking to be able to open up there as well. So that's our next focus. I know Fiji is keen. We haven't got any formal plans there yet. For us, and I imagine for you, it's all about what can we do next that's safe. How do we maintain the position we've got and not lose anything by opening up before we're ready?
Fantastic stuff. Thanks so much for talking to us, Jacinda Ardern, the New Zealand Prime Minister.
I look forward to seeing you sometime soon.
Hey, good luck with the hundreds of thousands of Australians who've had nowhere to go for the last 2 years coming across the ditch too.
We're looking forward to it. Such a big part of who we are welcoming other people from around the world. We've really missed it. So expect that you might be somewhat smothered by love and affection in a way you've not experienced before.
You got to get to Adelaide to try some of our Pinot Noir as well. It might not be quite as good as yours, but it's up there.
I am happy to have a contest.
Yeah, you're on.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Good stuff.
Prime Minister, thanks for your time.
Take care. See you soon.
Cheers.
The Prime Minister of New Zealand, Jacinda Ardern.
Looking forward to the Pinot Challenge.
Oh, yeah, let's book that in. Yeah, we're trying to book that in with sponsors. That was our interview with Jacinda Ardern that we conducted a little bit earlier this morning about the good news that you can travel quarantine-free to New Zealand and back.
I'm going to say, I've spoken to heaps of politicians, and she has got, genuine presence. Well, and there's aspects of her policy agenda that I totally disagree with, but when she came on, it was like you sort of, whoa, wow, Jacinda Ardern, she's a genuine world leader.
Yeah, she's got a worldwide profile.
She has.
I did like too, referring to premiers by their first name, called Gladys.
Yeah,
I spoke to. Is that a New Zealand thing? Maybe we should do that.
It's all very casual.
The problem with Scott is
Scott.
Scotty. Here's what Anthony needs to do.
I rang Steve.
Yeah, I rang Steve. 20 minutes
G'day,
after
Steve.
8.
I was just having a bit of a yarn to Gladys.
A guy called Tom coming up in a moment. Do day. That's right after 5AA traffic. Thanks to Dave Potter, Australia's #1 Honda dealer, second year running. DavePotterHonda.com.au.
Slow going through Salisbury Downs around a praying at the Salisbury Highway near Kings Road. An earlier one in Campbelltown still causing dramas on Lower North East Road at the Glenburn-Paynham Road intersections. Crews are clearing but expect delays for citybound. Busy on the Southern Expressway as you head towards the city, and North East Road feeling it from OG Road onwards to the city as well. Specsavers is giving everyone with health cover $50 off lens options like smudge resistant, polarisation and more. Offer ends April 28. Conditions apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
When you die, who gets what? Will your kids or relatives argue over your estate? Will your beneficiaries be protected? Will your estate be tax effective? Will your wishes be respected and carried out? Speak with Donlan Lawyers now for peace of mind. Donlan Lawyers for wills and estate planning. Visit donlanlawyers.com. That's donlanlawyers.com.
What starts with A and ends with E? Supplements for you and me.
FIVEaa health supplements are now available at leading chemists and health food stores nationwide. Ask for FIVEaa at your favourite pharmacy.
Have you ever heard the saying, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey? Sounds like you're about to get a root canal. It can also be used for when it comes to renovations. It's hard to get excited about a new bathroom or kitchen reno if the whole process has been a living nightmare.
That's only because you're doing it with the wrong people. Do it with the right people. Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens. At Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, it's all about the journey. Coxie and the entire team, sensational bunch. They go to amazing lengths to ensure the process is trouble-free, from meeting Tammy, affectionately known as the Boss Lady, through to their incredible design team and millimetre-perfect tradespeoples who are the tidiest tradies you'll ever meet. And what's more, they're on time.
So start your journey to a stunning and worry-free home renovation with Biourban bathrooms, kitchens, flooring and shutters, Adelaide's home renovation experts. Visit biourban.com.au.
Peter Shearer Menswear is the brand with the brands. For more than 50 years, our experience has put us ahead of the latest fashion trends. Always. As the largest independently owned menswear brand in South Australia, we will match any genuine price on identical items. Always. But most importantly, our staff are helpful, honest, and understand all body shapes are unique. The Peter Shearer Menswear commitment to ensuring customer satisfaction means we give right and honest advice. Always. Peter Shearer Menswear. Rundle Mall, Glenelg, Mount Barker and online.
Want a new kitchen? A kitchen that comes in under budget? Make your project ideas a reality with You Install It Kitchens. And right now, get a huge 20% factory cashback. Custom size Farquhar quality cabinetry. Yes, pre-assembled DIY designer kitchens with a 20% factory cashback. But hurry, it's only for a limited time. Visit a showroom today. Modbury, Churchill, Glandore, Norwood and Lonsdale. You Install It Kitchens, the complete DIY kitchen solution. Conditions apply.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
24 minutes after 8 now, thanks to Leader Computers, Australia's largest PC and server manufacturer, built and serviced right here in Adelaide.
I'm the dude, so that's what you call me, you know? That or his dudeness or Duder or, El Duderino if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
It's Tom Duday from the Adelaide Football Club following yet another win. It's starting to make this a habit. Tom, good morning to you, mate.
Morning, guys. How we going?
Tom, we're going so well. Now, I know the normal footballing answer is 1 week at a time. I got you, bloke, 6 from 7 4 weeks from now. What's your assessment of my prediction?
Just 1 week at a time, mate. 1 week at a time. Obviously, that would be ideal. But yeah, we going into the North game, everyone thinks, oh, we're gonna kill them because of how they played last week. But you saw how Gold Coast started against us. North are going to come out hungry like that, and unfortunately for us, fortunately and unfortunately in the AFL, there's no real easy win. So as much as North didn't perform at their best last week, there's every chance they come out firing and put us up to the test early on.
But just to flesh that out though, like, I know the other traditional footballing answer is we block out all of the external noise. We don't listen to all the crap that pundits and armchair experts make in their pre-season predictions. But I reckon a good third of all the football commentators and predictors had the Crows as wooden spooners. So you guys at the moment, as a team, you must be sort of walking around going, well, this is good, this is fun, and this isn't what people said was going to happen.
Yeah, I think, well, obviously you try to block out all that stuff, but sometimes there's just, especially in today's world, it's just unavoidable. You're going to open your phone or get a notification from Google that says 20 out of 30 people pick Crows to be the wooden spoon or something like that. But there is a bit of a feeling of, stuff you. Like we knew what we had here that's a bit better than what you predicted. But in saying that, we are only 3 games in. So obviously the Geelong game and Sydney and Gold Coast, we went in as underdogs and we like that mantra because we're getting doubted and we think we can pull a bit of a surprise. But this week will be a little bit different. We'll probably be the ones that are getting hunted and North Melbourne will come out as the underdog. So it'll be interesting.
You stared down some genuine adversity early in that game against Gold Coast. That was the first moment of the season. I know Sydney had a good run during that game, but to start the game 3 goals in arrears, it was the first time that 2021 felt a little bit like 2020. What in that moment prevented it from becoming the sort of blowout that we saw last year?
Yeah, not an ideal start, was it? I can't imagine that from a fan's perspective it would have been good to see 4 straight goals. It definitely wasn't good in the back line to see 4 go over your head and think, where are we going from here? But I think this year there's a lot more belief amongst the group that what we're doing and what we're building is right, and there's a lot more clarity on the game plan. So whereas last year we probably went a bit more insular and looked at, how am I going to get a kick, or I've just got to beat my man. This year we're sticking to what we know as a team can work. So it's the midfield working together, it's the forwards pressure and keeping the ball up there, and then it's the back line just defending as a team. And I think you saw that especially in those patches to end the quarters where we just started to take over. And I think in extra time, time on, I think we kicked 8 goals to their 1, which is sort of evidence as to how we play and how we stuck to our system.
Daniel Tarley has an unfortunate fortunate news on his front, out 8 to 10 weeks. You would have been expecting to get him back. How does it change the mindset, if at all, of the back line?
I'm not sure it changes the mindset in regards to game day and training, because he has been out for a little bit. So we've just been going into the week, especially with Butsy, the form that he's in, that just expecting the Butsy goes to the best key forward and gets the job done. But it's obviously disappointing for him, because I did a bit of rehab with him when I was coming back from my groins, and to see the work that he put in, day out, to then come back from his knee and get that healthy and now have the foot problem pop up. We're gutted for him, but we'll know he'll bounce back and hopefully come back for the second half of the year and provide a big boost to close out the final, hopefully 10 to 11 games.
Tom, in the same way that the Crows were being written off at the start of the year by, virtually everyone, same was being said of Tex. The view was that he was a man in his autumn years, having, one more lap of honour season and hopefully he'd kick the odd goal. It's now sitting on top of the Coleman, playing the most exciting brand of football. What does Tex's renaissance mean for everybody else at the club? Because as a supporter, and frankly, as a supporter who's expecting nothing really this season, apart from a few glimmers of hope from some of the young guys, it's just been the great feel-good yarn of 2021 so far.
Yeah, he's been pretty good. He hasn't mind letting us know about it either. But he's obviously it's a bit like Sloaney on the weekend, where you just see how much the crowd love when Sloaney lays a big tackle or gets a big ground ball, or when Tex kicks a goal. It's just different. It's like when Eddie was here. It's just everyone gets so much more excited about it, and for him to kick the amount of goals he's doing at kicking, but also have an impact up and down the ground, and his pressure's been elite. Some of his forward 50 tackling stuff, which is something we probably didn't see the last couple of years. He's put in a mountain of work, and it means so much to our younger boys to be able to play with him, but then also have him impact the game. And it's pretty good to watch. I tell you what, I got a good seat in the stadium to watch it, and it's been great for 3 weeks. So hopefully we can continue it for big time.
Now, Tom, we get you on not just, of course, for your expertise as an AFL footballer, but as a TV critic as well. And we've got a new little segment we like to call The Dude Abides.
Yeah, well, the dude abides.
Get me every time.
The dude abides.
Now, we want to know some TV that the dude abides this week. Got a recommendation for us?
So TV-wise, I've been pretty slack. Movie-wise, if you can get out and see The Father, which I think might still be in cinemas. It's with Olivia Colman, Anthony Hopkins. It's about dementia and the struggles with it. It's a bit of a tough watch at times, but I promise you it's worth it in the end. And then the other thing I'd recommend on Netflix is Crip Camp. It's a story about a bunch of teens with disabilities who come together and then feel empowered and sort of fight for equality. So both sort of touching stories, but I promise you at the end of it you'll feel better walking out of it.
Both good recommendations. So I'll write them down, Tom. I've got a lot more time in my hands than you have. We only work 3 hours a day here. Don't have to go to training either. So I'll...
Lucky you.
We'll be watching both of them.
Absolutely. Hey, all the best on the weekend, Tom. Great to chat, mate.
Much appreciated, guys.
6 from 7, Tom. No lid. No lid.
I'll write that on the whiteboard for the boys.
All right, excellent.
Tom today, thanks to Leader Computers, Australia's largest PC and server manufacturer, built and serviced right here in Adelaide.
Rowie Sport Show.
Jake Kelly. Jake, welcome.
The Dangerfield one, it's probably difficult from a player, but gets 3 weeks, it's probably justified, isn't it?
They're going about it the right way, and I think the 3 weeks that Pat got was fair.
It was an accidental head clash, Jake.
Yeah, well, you and I have a different opinion on that then, Roy.
4 p.m. weekdays.
Yeah, I think the AFL is going to be really strong on this, not talking about me individually, but for everyone.
But the rule's been written.
No, but I respect that.
He just went whack on you.
Rowie Sport Show on 5AA. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Sunny and 28 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
FIVEaa Extra is a registered NDIS provider, so let them support you in achieving your goals. FIVEaAextra.com.
A man will face court for street racing after a crash at Melrose Park. Two sedans were seen leaving a service station on South Road around 8:30 last night, travelling at excessive speed. The vehicles appeared to be racing each other before one of the drivers lost control and spun out, colliding with two other motorists on South Road. Fortunately, no one was injured. A 29-year-old from Parkholme was arrested and charged with a range of offences. Anyone with dashcam footage is asked to contact police. Wanted man Billy Hayes is back in police custody. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad says a warrant was issued for the 28-year-old after he cut off his home detention bracelet.
Just after 8:30 last night that we had police and our Star Group officers attend in the Glandore area where they did arrest Billy Hayes without incident. So he's obviously been refused bail and he'll be appearing in the Port Adelaide Magistrates Court later today.
There's more uncertainty over the future of the FIVEaa Steelworks. Creditors of British businessman Sanjeev Gupta have launched legal action to break up his Australian assets, including One Steel Manufacturing. Shadow Treasurer Stephen Mulligan says every effort must be made to save the steelworks from collapse.
South Australia's currently got the highest unemployment rate in the country, and the prospect of losing thousands of jobs associated with FIVEaa should be avoided. We need Stephen Marshall and the federal government doing what they can to support the successful operation of the plant into the future.
The state government's already ruled out a bailout, but $50 million offered by the previous government is still on the table for infrastructure projects around the FIVEaa Steelworks. More than 100,000 people a week are expected to travel between Australia and New Zealand once the two-way travel bubble is operating. Quarantine-free travel starts on the 19th of April. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has told 5AA Breakfast how they'll handle any potential COVID outbreaks.
We'll treat Australia just like an extra region to New Zealand, albeit a very large one, and we'll apply the same kind of approach that you already are within your states as well. So just apply a hotspot approach and restrict travel in and out based on that.
James Goodwin from the Australian Airports Association says it will be a huge confidence boost for the industry.
The new arrangements will allow Australians and New Zealanders to reconnect with their family and friends, and also for business to be able to reconnect. We expect that we'll see a lot of emotional scenes at our airports in the next couple of weeks.
Australia's economy is predicted to bounce back faster than first thought from the COVID downturn. The International Monetary Fund now expects our economy to grow by 4.5% this year, after shrinking by 2.4% in 2020. Chief economist Geeta Gopinath says the vaccine rollout is having a positive effect on the economic outlook around the world.
Even with high uncertainty about the path of the pandemic, a way out of this health and economic crisis is increasingly visible. Hundreds and millions of people are being vaccinated, and this is expected to power recoveries in many countries later this year.
It's been revealed Harry and Meghan's first Netflix series will be about the Prince's Invictus Games. The pair signed a multi-million-dollar deal with the streaming service after settling in California. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers. Flurio Milk Company. In your supermarket now.
With everything footy, here's Tom Wren.
Yeah, thank you, Mel. Let's begin there. Adelaide defender Tom Doedee admits it's disappointing to see fellow defender Daniel Talia sidelined for an extended period. Talia set to have foot surgery, which is set to keep him out for at least 10 weeks. Doedee telling David and Will it's not ideal.
It's obviously disappointing for him because I did a bit of rehab with him when I was coming back from my groins, and to see the work that he put in, day out, to then come back from his knee and get that healthy and now have a foot problem pop up. We're gutted for him, but we'll know he'll bounce back and hopefully come back for the second half of the year and provide a big boost to close out the final, hopefully 10 to 11 games.
Meantime, Melbourne's Christian Petrarca has responded to reports claiming his childhood club Collingwood will target him as a potential future player. Petrarca telling Fox Footy he's seen the speculation and says it's all just noise because he has 2 years to go on his current contract. To soccer, and Real Madrid has taken a stranglehold of its European Champions League quarter-final tie against Liverpool after a convincing 3-1 win in the first leg. The all-important third goal coming midway through the second half.
Swept on and in, and they do have a 2-goal buffer, and Vinicius Jr. gets his second of the night, and Liverpool stood and watched like statues.
Audio there thanks to Optus. One other match this morning with Manchester City 2-1 winners against Borussia Dortmund. And the World Surf Tour event in Newcastle has been called off for the day due to flat conditions at Mereweather Beach. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Dave Potter, Australia's #1 Honda dealer, second year running. DavePotterHonda.com.au.
Also going through Evanston South around Main North Road near Tiver Road. A truck has broken down and causing some issues here. Busy for the run into the city. Marion Road filling it around Dawes Road. Cross Road at Unley Road and the exits at the freeway around Glen Osmond Road also building. To Glenside at Fullerton Road near Mulberry Road. It's guttering causing some issues for southbound here. With half off select flights, plan your full-on holiday at australia.com or book with your airline or travel agent before they sell out. Terms and conditions apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi Solitaire, Metro Dealer of the Year. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
A sunny day on the way, 28 for your Wednesday, cloud increasing tomorrow 31. Right now it's 19 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
GoVita Health Food Shops specialise in you, offering products and wellness advice personalised to you since 1987.
Hi, I'm Ali from GoVita Marion and Colonnades, and this month you can find these awesome specials at your local GoVita store. NutriVital Pain and Inflammation Complete 60 capsules was $44.95, now $29.95, save 33%.
Get these specials and more at GoVita Colonnades, Fairview Green, Marion, Mount Barker, Monopara, Semaphore and Tanunda.
Jane pops in for a cuppa with Lorraine, an ACH Group customer living independently and safely at home thanks to Smart Tech.
Do you feel like you've got this protective network around you with the technology that you're using, the smart technology, that makes you live a more independent life?
Absolutely, and as I age more, just to know that going forward, these things will become even more important in my life.
To find out more about ACH Group's Smart Tech service, visit achgroup.org.au.
You know us for our bright blue vans. Metropolitan Plumbing, Electrical and Air Conditioning. We are the proud winners of the Product Review Award for Plumbing in Australia for 2020 and 21. Did you know we offer $0 deposit interest-free payment plans, have no extra charge for after hours and can also often be at your door within the hour? Metropolitan Plumbing, Electrical and Air Conditioning. Available 24/7.
The first call you should make if there's been any damage to your caravan, camper or van shouldn't be to your insurance company. It should be to Dave Benson Caravans Insurance Specialists. We'll take care of the whole process, so you don't have to stress. So, if you have an accident and need repairs, get in touch with us at Dave Benson Caravans and we'll take care of the rest. Search Dave Benson Caravans or visit us on Grand Junction Road, Kilburn. Fast, prompt, professional, competitive.
If you need a window, and not just anything will do, just call Statesman Window, factory direct to you.
Nobody beats Statesman Windows, not on quality and certainly not on service. Windows, sliding doors, bifolds and more, made right here in Adelaide, factory direct to you. For windows when and where you want them, call Statesman Windows, states.com.au.
Windows when and where you want them. Windows when and where you want them.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, the team at Lynn Andrews Real Estate have made it easy to manage residential and commercial property. Whether you own a single residential home or multiple commercial properties, our passion for property investment means we have a great deal of knowledge to share. How to invest safely and properly. Matching the right tenant with the right property every time. We're here to help. Visit lynandrews.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
9 minutes to 9, time for Fuel Watch. Thanks to Dave Potter Honda. Petrol cheapest in the inner west. You get it at $1.19 on Henley Beach Road at the Mobile in Torrensville. Most of Adelaide, though, it's comfortably around the $1.25 mark. Here are some cheaper spots. $1.21 in St Maurice and Leabrook. You'll get it right on $1.25 in Clovelly Park and Dover Gardens. $1.22 in Salisbury and Windvale. And $1.23 in Rosewater and Gilman. Behind closed doors, not too far away. Love this initiative. The ACH group have come up with a video gaming challenge for the over 65s in Adelaide. It's called Stay in the Game, and two of its participants are joining us now on 5AA Breakfast, Gary and Ann Hartney. Gary and Ann, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Now, I reckon this is a fantastic idea. I've got to admit, Gary and Ann, I'm not sure whether you're into, Galaxian or Super Mario Kart, or whether you go for things like more traditional board games like Scrabble and backgammon, but I'm addicted to those last two games on my computer. And there's a lot of evidence that if you play these things, they keep you mentally agile.
Yes, correct. It's great fun, and it's fun, but it's also good, for the brain, yeah.
What sort of games are you guys into?
We play Patience, and we actually physically play Scrabble. We don't actually do it on... We're a bit sort of technophobes in that respect. But we used to play Wii when we had that, and then the Nintendo Switch with the Stay in the Game. So we're sort of really looking forward to that.
When did the whole video gaming start then? So the Wii and the Switch, the Wii certainly would suggest it's probably, about 10 years ago, something like that?
Yeah, and when their grandkids were smaller, and and we had, I was only talking to my daughter at the weekend, we had Mario Brothers and all that sort of stuff when our daughter was younger. And I think Gaz mentioned in the article when he was a young fella, he did the Pac-Man stuff and that. Yeah, I used to play for beers.
What do you mean used to, Gary?
Yeah. Well, that was a long time ago.
Do you mind me asking how old are you both?
I'm 68. And I'm 71.
So you're both young. I mean, these days that's still young.
Yeah, we feel that. Yeah.
Do you think gaming and video gaming for over 65s has become or grown in popularity due to the fact that whereas once it was seen as the kind of thing that people did alone by themselves at home, now it's very much a social enterprise. They can all connect over the internet. You can meet and talk to people.
Yep.
Has it changed? Has it made it more interesting?
Oh, totally. Absolutely, totally. We actually did a photo shoot for ACH at Light Square, and we actually were playing Scrabble. Gary was inside and I was on the balcony, and we had iPads. So it was fabulous, to be able to play Scrabble like that. So in that respect, at our age group, it's one of the best things you can do, yeah.
Does it get competitive?
Oh, totally. No, I wouldn't say that.
Is that because Anne always wins?
And then he tells everybody in the paper that I cheated. And the only reason he said that is because I always beat him at Scrabble.
Has he ever upended the board, Anne?
No, but he spat the dummy a few times.
Yeah, what's any contentious words that you've had to go into the dictionary for?
Oh, we always have a Scrabble dictionary where there's probably people, the purists probably don't agree with that, but we always do.
One thing that drives me mad is on the Scrabble app, it accepts the word ZA, ZAR, as an abbreviation for pizza. That's rubbish.
A little bit, yeah. That's weird.
Is that real?
It's an American thing. ZAR.
Yeah.
Never
and that's why you don't play Scrabble with other people, physically play Scrabble with other people, because you get into fight.
Yeah, it can get tense.
Yes. At least with apps and online, you're restricted to the rules that the online Scrabble allows. So it's a fairer form of playing if you're playing with other people. When you're playing with a board, everyone has their own rules.
So as part of the ACH group's Stay in the Game challenge, how many different sorts of games can you play? Is there a whole range?
Oh, hell, we played, we had a go at darts. Tennis was pretty popular. We even had one of our ladies here who's 90, actually at our neighbourhood day had a game, and she loved it. She actually fell over, and we went, oh, my God, and we all picked her up, and she kept going. She goes, no, I'm all right.
What was she playing at the time, Anne? Tennis. I like Wii tennis.
Yeah, like the Nintendo Switch on the Nintendo Switch, yeah. And then we ended up with two people that played that weren't going to play, and then they signed up for the Stay in the Game, and then another lady that was there as well signed up. So it sort of got people motivated to realise they can do it, because people think they can't do it, but when they actually see what happens and see how easy it is, they actually realise that they can still do it. Yeah.
Hey, that's excellent.
It is great. Lovely to speak to you both, and appreciate you coming on this morning.
Thank you.
No problem.
Gary and Ann Hartney, you can sign up at stayinthegame.achgroup.org.au.
They're going to have to bring out like a pensioner edition of Grand Theft Auto, aren't they? Where you just, mow over the gangsters with your Zimmer frame.
I'm pretty sure you can probably get something like that.
You start wailing at people with your walking stick.
I think that may even be part of it already.
Cop that.
There's an important part of this too for people that are mobility impaired, that struggle to get to social events and do things. That the world of gaming and the online experience has meant it's a different world for people in 2021.
If you want to have because I reckon a lot of our listeners who are in that age bracket will be interested, go to the ACH website to find out more about it, because it kicks off on April 19 and it's open to all comers. It's a terrific idea, I reckon. Do you do stuff like that in your spare time? Have you got any games you play?
Oh, all the time, yeah, but I'm a loner. I just do it by myself. I'm not into friends.
One of the great things about weekends like down at Aldinga is it's like an analogue house. There's no Wi-Fi, so it means it's Yahtzee, it's triominoes, it's scattergrees. We don't play Monopoly because that always ends in brawls. But there's something really... And as a kid, some of my fondest memories are going to Granny Penn's house in the 70s, and we'd all play canasta after dinner, or gin rummy. And it's excellent family fun. And you're just being, you're not the misanthrope that you claim to be, will you? We could have a game of triominoes in our spare time. You'd love it.
I reckon if someone was playing Scrabble with me and said, put in Tsar for pizza, I'd just stop being friends with them. I'd just say, nah. You and I have irreconcilable differences.
The worst thing in Scrabble is people who go, is this a word? It's like, no, this is not a word guessing game.
Yeah.
You assemble words out of your 7 tiles, you put them down. You're not here to go, QA, I think sounds like a word.
Yeah. What about brumph? That's right. All right, let's check traffic thanks to Dave Potter.
Actually, brumph is a word.
Is it? Excellent.
I'm checking the Scrabble dictionary, brumph.
Their Mad March demo clearance is on now with huge savings and factory bonuses across the range.
An earlier collision in Parafield Gardens causing delays at Martins Road. Expect some slow conditions around this one. In Glenside at Fullerton Road near Mulberry Road, guttering is slowing southbound travellers. To Plympton Park on Cross Road near Wattle Terrace, asphalt works keeping it busy for westbound. And through Glynde on Glenburn Road near Hectorville Road, gas works are currently underway. The Amazon.com.au autumn sale is live now with great deals, plus new customers get free delivery on your first eligible order. T's and C's apply. Shop amazon.com.au, Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Can I get a price check in aisle 4? I just can't believe that Synovus vitamins, with over 80 years of trust and expertise in every tablet, are as affordable as they are. Be clever healthy.
When people walk through the doors at Pals, the first thing they say is wow. Not only because of the size and the selection, but also because of the team. Sam and Jamie have tasted every drop. They and their team can recommend a whiskey that's just as good as that hard-to-find Japanese one, if they don't have it, that is. Or a beautiful red that's reminiscent of that outstanding cellar door you once travelled so far to visit. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
Taking time to listen can make all the difference. Farrell & O'Neill Funerals is a South Australian family company committed to guiding and supporting families at an emotional time. We value a lifetime by offering a compassionate, caring and unique service with attention to the smallest detail. Finding guidance through a difficult time can be comforting. Farrell & O'Neill Funerals, 8296 3134.
Have you got toenail issues? Is your big toenail discoloured and unsightly? Toenail fungus is a common issue for lots of people. We're inviting people to participate in a clinical trial to test a new topical treatment for fungal toenail infections.
Participants need to be 18 to 70 years old with signs of toenail fungus. All eligible participants will be paid for their time. Register your interest today at toenailstudy.com.au. That's toenailstudy.com.au.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Who's hungry?
Big apologies to anyone who's negotiating breakfast while hearing about the toenailstudy.com website.
Toenail
Hey,
fungus.
it's an important issue, and
toenails are people too.
Yeah, that's right.
I think.
Yes, exactly. They're part of people.
Yeah, that's right.
They're attached to people.
That's what I meant to say.
Well, they normally are. Maybe that's the problem.
I mean, there are some subject matters that, once upon a time, certain things had to be on TV after 10 o'clock at night. I'm willing to reopen the conversation when it comes to fungal toenail issues.
That's right. Fungi to be with.
Mind you, if because of that advertisement they can find a cure.
Exactly. We've done our bit.
Yeah. Well, and
We've done our bit.
Maybe we all need to do our bit.
Yeah, maybe that's how we got here, Will.
Yeah, because we wouldn't talk about it.
Yeah, because it's been silent for too long. The whole
Jeez, we've come full circle on that, haven't we?
Toenail shame.
All right, it's...
If you've got fungal issues, you should be out and proud about it. No point just, hiding it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. All right, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64. It's time to go behind closed doors.
And when we get behind closed...
13.95, Adelaide's 5AA. This is Angie McBride.
Oh, hello everybody. It's Angie McBride with you. And we're going a little bit nutty in here. And I said to Lizzie, and I put the blinds up and there's a pretty nice sunset coming through. Isn't it funny how people get sunrise and sunset round the wrong way? And that might be because we're a bit nutty this morning. We're a bit nutty and it's great to have you with us today. I hope you're feeling not nutty. And of course, Lizzie talks to dead people, so she's pretty nutty anyway. We saw these bright flashes of light coming in the studio window and we don't know where it came from. And it's Easter Sunday. Maybe it's the second coming of Jesus because it's Resurrection Day, isn't it? And that's going to upset some Christians. And I bet Craig gets a few complaints on Tuesday, but we're just a bit nutty this morning. So how's your Easter been? Why am I asking you questions when you can't answer them? Maybe you'd like to give me a call on 8223 0000 and I can ask you again. So what are you doing at the moment? Are you having a hot cross bun? God, I could go a hot cross bun at the moment. And there's another complaint Craig will have to deal with on Tuesday, me taking the name of the Lord thy God in vain on Easter Sunday. But that's because we're all so nutty in here today. It's funny, isn't it, how I stress out about doing the breakfast show and how am I going to fill in 3 hours and then I talk at 1,000 miles a minute. If I slowed down my delivery, I might stretch it quite nicely out to 3 hours. I reckon if I'd paced myself with this talk break, it'd be close to 9 o'clock already. We're going nutty in here.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Tough work talking to yourself.
Yeah, we do it all the time.
I do.
We used to do it all the time.
That's right.
They only do it some of the time.
Yeah, that's right. They took mercy on the listeners. 5 to 9.
Jane pops in for a cuppa with Fred, who lives at ACH Group's Kapara Residential Care Home at Glenelg.
Now, there's lots of activities on offer here at Kapara. Fred, tell me about the things that you do in the men's shed.
Oh, they make up toys for children.
It must feel good to be doing something with your hands.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And your brain. And you meet people. We wouldn't swap this place for anything. It's a pleasure to be here.
To find out more about one of ACH Group's 8 residential care homes, visit achgroup.org.au.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, we have specialised in commercial and residential property management. But above all, we specialise in people, helping to make life easy for property investors and the tenants of their properties. Everyone is treated with integrity and respect. That's the Lynn Andrews way. For commercial and residential property management, we are here to help. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
The fight is on in South Australia. The fight to save lives. The fight to find cures to diseases and illnesses. And the fight to improve care. The opponent might seem invincible, but together we can take it on. When you support the Hospital Research Foundation, you join the fight and help us hit back at disease and illness. The Hospital Research Foundation Group. Together, fight.
Country quality is all in the details. The installers who come to your home are members of Country, not contractors. Our installers work only for us, so they take real pride in what they do. Get expert installation by our own professionals and a result you can be proud of. You'll love the Country Installation Advantage. So now, let's make it for you. Visit countryblinds.com.au for a free measure and quote.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
There's been a bit of a New Zealand theme to some of the music on the program this morning. It's because we spoke with the Prime Minister of New Zealand, Jacinda Ardern, a little bit earlier. She had the very happy duty of explaining to us how easy it's going to be to go on a holiday to New Zealand. There'll be, from May, 3 flights a week direct from Adelaide to New Zealand. And I must admit, before speaking with her, I'd expected there would be some sort of onerous list of questions and protocols that you'd have to jump through before you could go there. But it sounds I think you made the point earlier, it sounds about as difficult as going to Foodland.
Yeah, totally.
She explained to us that you may have to observe a QR code.
Yeah,
which we're kind of across. We're good
QR
with that
code, maintain basic hygiene. How hard can it be?
Yeah, I know. And I've been to some trips where that has been an optional extra. But,
oh yeah, totally. Yeah,
but
a few.
In this COVID era, I'm more than happy to wash my hands.
The other really good thing about it though is the direct flight, because traveling with kids. The biggest irritation is like, okay, we've got to go to Sydney and then it's going to be a 4-hour wait. And it just drags the whole day out. Like here, you leave in the morning, you be there in the afternoon.
Yep, you're there.
It's terrific.
Hire a car.
Yeah.
And you could get to wherever you want to go.
Settled in, checked in.
Yep.
How good's the hotel? Where are we going for dinner? It's always the best feeling first day of holiday, isn't it?
It is. And
from what I remember.
Yeah, that's right. Well, this is just it. Even if it's not something that's going to be in your immediate future, it speaks to the changing world. And it means we are emerging from 2020 and that whole COVID disaster. And just as lockdowns we're not experiencing like we had, now the idea that you can't ever go overseas is slowly becoming a thing of the past. And this is the first step down that path. So it's exciting. And you can hear our chat with Jacinda Ardern on the 5AA Breakfast podcast, which is available anywhere you get your podcasts.
We're going to have a new weekly award coming up.
Oh,
we are. We've been working on this in the ad breaks. It's exciting. Fans of Frank Drebin will love it.
Yes.
Please disperse, people. Nothing to see here.
Brand new award that'll be given out each and every week. And we've got a cracker this week, maybe Friday mornings.
He's unbeatable on debut.
Yeah.
This week's winner.
Yeah, an inaugural winner that will be, look, you'll appreciate what we're going to be doing with it. That's ahead this week. Tomorrow, Matt Abraham, Leon Biner in just a moment. And we'll catch you tomorrow from 6.